It just took me like 3 minutes to find the start recording button on OBS. I am so off today, dude. It's not even funny. Which is gonna make this draft that we're about to do right now so much fun. Considering
You said that I got to describe the draft. I want to do it.
You did get to describe the draft. Actually, you know what? Kev, do me a favor. How about you tell the audience what we're doing today?
I'm so excited to clearly explain what we're doing today without slurring my words or anything.
Wait,
so last week,
I just gotta ask you.
How many we're already talking over draft. What's up?
How many beers in? I made you wait for like an hour now. We're an hour late because of myself. How many beers did you get down in that hour that you're waiting for me?
Just one. I conserved it.
Okay.
I'm actually totally cool. So last week we did a really good episode. Got a lot of great feedback on it from all the watchers. Backup quarterback. So we decided, let's do another draft. This one's even better. So you can see Adam's got this spreadsheet pulled up on video with all the positions. We are going to draft 50 backup quarterbacks and decide what position that they will play on our team.
Yeah, we're basically finding the most athletic quarterbacks to throw in at wide receiver. You know, Chase Daniel probably could come out of retirement and play a little bit of right tackle. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm going to do Joe Flacco at edge. I like his burst.
He's so explosive. That first step.
No, okay. Before we lose viewers, we're going to each of us has 25 positions to fill. The ones on your screen, and 3 kind of wild cards, but they're kind of clear. We want to do base. We want to do nickel, defense, offense. We want to do 3 receiver looks and either 2 tight ends. You can do a fullback if you want, but we're going to go through the draft. 25 players on each team, and just build the best team that we can. The idea is we want to win. Basically, my idea, I don't know if you agree to this, is the goal is to win 3 Super Bowls over the next 3 years. Each year is as important as the next. And if you don't win all 3, you get shot in the head. Those are the stakes.
How about we just build the best roster for the next 3 years and hope that you win those Super Bowls, because that's basically the same damn thing.
Well, the important thing is year 3 is just as important as year 1. That there's a slight wrinkle here. Like, you don't want your team being dog shit in year 3 because you're stuck with this team. And the backups to these players are all, like, to use Madden terms, they're all like 60 overalls. So
yeah, the rest of the roster is just auto-filled, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. Essentially, the way that I'm taking it is we're building the best roster for all 3 years, right? So the next 3 years, you want to be competitive right away. And it's the 22 starters plus or minus some. You'll see. So like right now, if viewers are going to notice, I have this set up for the defense is set up for a 3-4 defense, and the nickel's still on there, right? There might be a situation where we might do a 4-3. I'll have to shift the rosters as we go, basically how the roster looks. It's all going to happen and be fluid as we're drafting, because obviously the decisions you make are going to affect the decisions I make. So just give people an idea. Say Kevin gets the first pick, right? As some may know from listening to other podcasts that are similar to this, with like an NFL draft where you try to dual draft against each other. If he takes a quarterback, I don't need to take a quarterback. I can wait on that, because unless he for some reason uses that additional pick, because we're going to have some wildcard picks on a quarterback itself just to screw me, I'll know who I'm going to get.
So, and the other thing I'll point out is you really only have one wild card, because if you can't fill base on each end, I guess you can maybe get away with doing the same 11 offensive guys. So maybe you can stretch 2 wild cards, but I don't think we should do that.
You'll be stuck in 11.
Basically got one wild card, one whammy, or just one way to make your roster better if you so choose.
Yeah.
However you want to use that wild card pick. But we're going 50 deep, and then at the end, I'll have a coaching staff in mind, but at the end we'll figure out who our coaches are.
Yeah, basically whoever gets the first pick will get the last pick on coaches. So we're gonna do coaches at the end.
I'll also say I don't like that you said that people might have heard this on other podcasts or whatever. This is a totally original idea. Nobody's ever thought to do this before.
I actually
Um,
don't know if
and
somebody's
that's why
done
y'all
it.
got to like and subscribe.
We're not special, Kev. Let's be honest here. Perfect. So let's get started. Kevin, heads or coins? Heads or tails? Jeez, heads or
Coins,
coins?
coins for sure, man. I
Told
guarantee
you,
it's going to be a
it's
coin.
been it's been a hell of a day. All right, what do you want?
Oh God,
I
don't get
already,
me started about my haircut. Tails.
it's fine, dude. It's heads.
My
So I get to go first.
experience. It's two
Awesome.
heads in a row. This is dog shit.
So I don't know if I could live with myself if I don't take Patrick Mahomes first overall. There is he just makes up for so much. There's so many issues on the offense that he can make up for. Even if I jack up any of my line, anything, my wide receivers, he can still make that offense move, right? Obviously, Andy Reid's there too, but we all know that he's the best player in the NFL. Um, in my opinion, sure he needs the accolades, right? He needs those Super Bowls. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback, I think, in NFL history. And I think that'll bear out as he keeps going. So
Yeah, there's the resume best quarterback of all time, and there's just the who is actually the best player at playing quarterback of all time, and it is Patrick Mahomes. Um, he would have been my first pick. I'm really sour I didn't get the first pick. I did a little more prep than you. I made a little system here because the idea obviously is to get the guy where there's the most drop off to the second guy. You still want to hit the premium position. There's a lot of strategy to this, and we'll see it as it goes. But I
I,
thought if I got the first pick, I could get my top. I have two guys that I really want, and now I'm gonna have to go with somebody else with my second pick here. And I really thought I can get both guys, but I had to get the first pick
well, who's
to
that?
do it.
Who's the second guy that you wanted?
So the second player, and this is by my little system, this is by a wide margin the biggest drop off from number one to number two, with a little bit of positional value taken into account. My first pick is going to be Ahmed Sauce Gardner.
Ooh, I don't know if I fully agree. Drop off from 1 to 2. I mean, here's my thing. Sauce Gardner is the best corner in the league. I want to say by far, but I also consider if Jalen Johnson's past season is not just if that's not peak, right? If that is something that can either be consistent or you can even improve upon, he's a little bit behind him. He's not that far behind him. When you look at if you look at the production, what they did last season, he's one of the first cornerbacks I've seen play as good as Sauce. I mean, Sauce is completely shut down, right? What he
Well,
gave up like 150 yards receiving all last year that were
yeah.
attributed towards him. But it's the
Um,
same thing I think with like say JJ. So, but I do like that pick. I would
let's
agree that that's a good spot to hit.
let's reframe it a little bit though while you're about to make your next pick. Sauce Gardner has been in the league 2 years. He's been the best cornerback in the league probably both of those years. Jalen Johnson's been in the league for 4 years. He has been one of the best corners in the league one of those years. 3 of those years, there's some noise in there that explains why he didn't fully break out. Um, and you and I are both extremely bullish on him going forward.
Mhm.
We always thought he was better than what PFF said, and we were right. He was great, but
I did ask for more.
I got to go with the sure. I got to go with the sure thing. Cornerback is extremely volatile unless you have an absolute fucking stud. Then that guy's probably not as volatile, and that's Sauce to me. That's why
Yeah.
there's a drop off. There's no way that I don't have the best corner, one of the top five cornerbacks in the league every year for the next 3 years is what we're doing.
And in my opinion, there's only 3 corners right now that I think I could set my watch to every single season, and that's me predicting that JJ will be like that. Because you're right, the first 3 seasons, his first 3 seasons, I think Bears fans sort of overrated how he played. But last year, I think he showed exactly why we were so excited about him. And I'm hoping that that becomes more consistent, even though it's a very volatile position. So let me go ahead and with my second pick. Oh man, so I can't let you get all of the corners. And I think I want to go. I was just talking JJ, but there's one other corner that I really want to hit, and I'm trying to decide who I'd rather have. Um, and I think I'm going to have to go with Patrick Surtain. He
Ooh.
is consistently the second best corner in the league. And again, if JJ say has another season just like this past one, I would absolutely switch that up. But I can't let you have all the corners. I think corner is an incredibly as you know, I like the idea of building your defense back to front. I go against the um front to back notion that a lot of people have because I think you can do it either way. And I'm not giving up that position.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think he was clearly. I think in NFL trade value, what corner is going to yield the most first round picks from somebody at Sauce Gardner? I think second is easily Sertan. Like even if you think want to make the argument that JJ's better, like what NFL teams think, it will definitely be Sertan in my opinion. So I think he's slam dunk number two. He was number two on my list. I'm not going to give away the rest of the list, but yeah, he was definitely out boundary corner number two on my list. And yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone with him because I have this whole like first bucket of guys, but man, I probably could have really screwed you there, and it didn't even occur to me. So it's probably a good thing you did that.
Yep, I was worried that you would take him as your CB2, and then I would be down to JJ, and then pick your poison. At that point, they do become very similar. I'm not sure how much with a weakling system like that. I'm not sure how much I care, but I care enough.
Yeah. All right. So I do have a number one guy on the board. I could just go down this list, but I also have to. I'm also gonna keep in mind who you're likely to take or not take or whatever.
There's
So I'm
gonna
not
be
gonna go
reasons why we're
strictly
gonna
down
have
it.
to
So
pivot. You just made me
that's
pivot, so
yeah. That's why I'm thinking about this one a little bit because I'm not super worried about losing the top guy on my list. I also don't. I'm between two guys. Uh, they're both defensive guys.
Mhm.
The thing is, premium position doesn't matter so much in this draft because we're all going to get a bunch of good players. So, like,
I agree. Yep.
I
There
can
might
leave
be a
you.
massive drop off at one position that isn't a premium position, right?
Yeah.
After the first couple
Anyway,
guys.
I select Fred Warner.
I knew you were going there as you were saying that. Oh, good pick.
Just we're going to slot him in at weak side linebacker, have him take the deep middle and a nickel. And I mean, I think the second best off ball linebacker is not even an off ball linebacker.
He allows your defense to do things that you would not be able to do without Fred Warner.
I don't know if you catch my
He
hint there, but
wait, say that again. I missed it.
I think the second best off ball linebacker in the NFL is not even actually an off ball linebacker.
Oh, and I was contemplating if that person that you're talking about is who my next pick is going to be. I'm between two people as well. One that I want to take because I think there's a massive drop off after him at this position. But I think I'm going to go. But I'm also worried about the drop off at the other off ball linebackers position that isn't an off ball linebacker. Before we do those, any thoughts on Fred Warner? Do you want to hit on?
Uh, I mean, I think I just described the way that I want to play him. I want to take the deep middle because he's the best coverage linebacker since Brian Urlacher, probably. And he's good at everything. He's taking positional value out of account, out of the equation. He is, I think, by an enormous margin. There's the biggest difference between who the best linebacker in the NFL is and who the second best is. There was a couple of years there where it seemed like at the time Darius Leonard was maybe threatening him for possibly being up there, and then he changed his name to Shaq and started sucking. So Yeah, it's Warner. He does things in coverage. I no other linebacker can do it. He's incredible.
I completely agree. I'm about to blow your mind. I'm not gonna go with the guy that we were hinting at, alluding to. I'm actually gonna go with Dexter Lawrence. There is not a single. Is that the guy that you didn't think I'd pick?
No, but I thought I'd be able to get him.
Oh, absolutely not. He is the
he is
best
number he
one.
is number he's number 4 on my list here.
He is the best one tech in the league. There is not a single one tech that is going to get the penetration that man gets. I don't care. We were talking about this. We're talking about age matters because of Cliff. That man is. I mean, how old is he at this point? He is playing as if he's still in his 20s. Um, or no, what am I thinking? Sorry, he's 26 and a half. Why do I feel like he's old? Every time I think about him, I always think he's older than he is.
You're thinking of like Leonard Williams or something like that. The
Yeah,
Giants had a run of like always taking DIs early, and then when they took Dexter Lawrence, it was like, fuck, he did it again. Okay,
yeah.
this big fat guy had a like, but he like
He's
gained explosiveness like last year. I feel like he was always good, but he really burst out as a pass rusher, like an actual penetrator the last couple of years.
he's like a penetrating three tech at one tech. So if you like, my idea here is I'm not giving that up. I don't know if there's another one tech I would want to take unless I'm going, and at this point it's not really a one tech, unless I'm going with a basically what's it called, a three, actually going to go with a 3-4 defense, and I want a two gapping guy there, which I'm not going to care about right now. We could always at a certain point they can be a dime a dozen. I'm not saying they actually are on defense, but they're a lot easier to find than say um, a real pass rushing presence on the interior that can completely wreck a game. Like
Yeah,
I know a lot of people like to talk about edge rushers. Here's the thing: it's hard to create penetration in the middle, but interior pass rush, interior penetration is lethal to a passing game. You remove the pocket completely and you really jack things up for the quarterback. It's just easier to get. It's easier to get a what's it called, penetration on the outside, to get a pass rush going on the outside and actually win. Which is why typically we look at the edge rushers as our pass rushers. But if I can get that on the inside, it's going to mess up a game plan.
yeah, and so my thought process as to why I thought I can get him is that I ranked one text and three texts individually,
Mm-hmm.
and he's basically at the top of both lists. Is he at the top of both lists? Let me actually check my work
There are
here.
guys that have like a pass rush win rate close to him at one tech, but they get like nowhere near the snaps. And it's just one of those things where it's like your efficiency is going to drop off as your usage goes up, and his usage and efficiency are both very high.
Oh, something's wrong with my thing. I don't have enough three texts listed here. Well, yeah, he is. I do have him ranked as my top 1 and 3 tech. I should have just taken him. I
Was that the guy that you're debating between? You said you were gonna take somebody, but you're worried that, or you're like, I
he
think I can get
he
him later.
he was number 3 on my list.
Got it.
I was between two guys. He was going to be my third guy.
Got it.
Yeah, I did think I could hold off on him. There's another guy I still think I can hold off on, so I'm gonna go slightly different because I don't know if this is going to occur to you regardless, but I don't know what type of defense I'm building here yet. And I do know what I want is the versatility to not carry yet. I said Fred Warner is the best off-ball linebacker in the league. I think if this guy were an off-ball linebacker, he would be the second best. So I'm going to take Micah Parsons.
Who we were alluding to earlier, right? Are you putting you're obviously putting him at edge though, correct? Where do you want me to
Certainly in the
start?
nickel, certainly in the nickel look that you have set up there, but he's given me versatility that maybe I don't have to take a third linebacker now. Maybe I can say that he's my strong side linebacker.
To be fair, also that's not a nickel. It's just all the positions. We got 12 guys on the field right now, just so nobody's confused as to count it. So I've got the 3 DI and the nickel. So this is
Oh, you do have it set up like a 3-4. Yeah,
yep,
I'm not necessarily doing that. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
I'll remove it and move over as we need to go. But yeah,
I
no, this
got
is
you.
just there's 12. not to confuse anybody who might be watching, there's 12 people on the screen. It's set up as a 3-4, but with the nickel also in with the DI. And if you're running a 4-3, for instance, it's not the DI that goes out. It's going to be like it's usually your linebacker, your Sam. Cool. Okay. Micah Parsons, I don't know if I consider him the best edge rusher. I'm going to be honest with you. That's actually why
I
when I was
don't.
thinking about it after we talked, I was like, the versatility, yes, I can understand that. And he would be my second edge rush pick, to be fair. But I have
Yeah,
somebody else that I think I would prefer, and that's why I held off and said, you know what, I could go Dexter Lawrence with this next pick instead.
So I split like 9 techs and 7 techs kind of. So he's my number
Oh,
1 9 tech.
interesting.
He's in my number 2 or 3 7-ish tech. Meaning
How did you get
further
the
outside he is.
How did you get the data to figure? So I know with PFF they just have it as like a outside the tackle
Oh, I
more time. You just know who plays wide 9 versus
just off
7
the dome.
or 5.
I would even go as far as to say it's who I know would be good at it based on their skill set.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I guess you can go. You can definitely reason through that. That's fair. Um, with him off the board, I know there's about maybe 4 edge rushers I'd really care to have. More than that, but I mean, like, I'm trying to think about people who can also help me in the run game, right? If you can get an edge rusher who's an elite pass rusher, but on top of that, he's a bit like a top-notch run defender. You're looking at somebody who can completely transform your defense. And I know I talk down on edge rushers a bunch, I think, on some of our other pods. It's not because I don't like the position. It's just that it's so hard to find one that actually matters. Um, and there's so few that I think that at a certain point you get to a point where they can become a little bit of a dime a dozen with who they are after a certain tier. So with that said, Myles Garrett, who I think is the best edge rusher in the NFL. Did he win Defensive Player of the Year last year? Right, and the whole shit
Yeah.
with yeah, TJ Watt happened. That was such. I'm
I
sorry.
think he
I'm
came
gonna go
in
on a little bit of
second. He might have come in third. And I remember responding to a couple of Steelers idiots being like,
yeah.
hey, man, you're lucky he came in the place he did because he didn't deserve that either.
Well, and the thing is, like,
TJ
he's
Watt's a
very
lovely
good.
player. He just,
He is. He's a fantastic player. The thing that bugged me about it was his comments. You should be supportive of your peers, and act like you've been there before. So that was a little frustrating when I saw it. But Myles Garrett, I think, it was well deserved Defensive Player of the Year. That man, he's you can't say he's just a freak. He's an absolute freak. It's incredibly
I
difficult
don't,
to stop him. You can double team him, you can do whatever. And on rundowns, phenomenal run defender. He just doesn't stop.
I don't know how you can. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Parsons is the best edge. I did this. I took Parsons for the versatility aspect. I think Garrett is better, but I think if I want to replicate what Garrett does, there's probably 2 more guys that are not taken off the board yet that I can do that with.
Yep. But that's the
Um,
thing, though. There's only 2 more, and we've got a couple more edge spots to fill. And I want to make sure I get my number 1 guy there.
Technically, we each have one, and we can screw each other the other. And
Yep.
I can move Parsons to strong side backer
True.
and
But
really
I
roll
also
out.
know who I would go with outside of that. I want to make sure I've got my 1 guy. Who knows if I even care about that second? Because I know some other people that I can absolutely do that will fill in a role real well. Am I playing mind
Alrighty.
games with you? Am I just talking? Am I just talking, or am I being serious? I don't know. We'll figure that out.
I don't know. I'm terrified. The guy. Hmm. There is a clear top guy on my list. I'm trying to figure out if he fits what it looks like my defense is maybe wanting to do. Um,
It's amazing how many defenders we've taken. As I think 2 people who are more offensive build, especially as Bears
yeah,
fans, more offensive build. It's amazing. I think the thing with
especially
defense
as 2
is,
Bears fans that
yeah,
I would say I would leave the Bears fan thing out of it because Bears fans are not offensive builds.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Offensive
saying. Like, it's
starved.
amazing we even are offensive build because we're Bears fans, and Bears fans tend to be defensive
Gotcha.
build. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We don't know what offense is, so maybe that's why we're.
So the guy I'm looking at right now is a defensive player. Um, man, do I just keep this edge run going?
I just waited. I just realized I flipped it. It's been a long day. Work was fun. I just realized I flipped what I was trying to say. But yeah, no. As offensive start, maybe this is why we're doing defense so much.
Could be. But I got to say this: there's no chance that either of us does not come away with three good receivers. It's just a matter of,
Which three?
yeah, it's a matter of like, I mean, there's a guy who I think is clearly the best receiver in the NFL.
I
Not
think we
that
all.
clearly, but like I think we agree on who number one is. But like,
It's,
do we care enough that we can't drop down to two or three? So it's like there's that.
well, and
Offense.
there's also the risk of if somebody gets like 1, 2, and say 4, that I think can be a big drop off versus like 3, 5, and 6, if that makes sense.
Probably. Especially factoring since we're factoring age a little bit, the likelihood that they're still going to be good in year three, then that
Yep.
becomes a discussion. Um,
Talk me
dead
through your
air,
thought
dead air,
process
dead
without
air.
saying the guys.
I'm just
Like,
I feel like I already have somebody who can do a lot of what this guy, like a lot of the value that the guy I want to pick here is duplicated by somebody who I already have. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And honestly, I kind of like the idea that we could just blitz the fuck out of you and we're going to be okay in coverage because we got softs back there. Um, man, I'm going to take this guy's just by far number one on my board. The biggest drop off to the second best guy at his position. I'm going to take. Actually, I should be excited about this because this is my favorite school, not the school that I'm
God
repping
damn it,
today.
you're taking Kyle Hamilton.
No, I'm taking.
Yeah,
Fuck,
I
can't
guess.
even think of another good Notre Dame player.
Yeah, you're taking
Quentin
Kyle Hamilton.
Nelson. I'm taking Kyle Hamilton.
Fuck, that
I
was my
just
next
so
pick.
yeah, I'm glad. Fuck you. But yeah. So my hesitance was just like, I have Fred Warner doing so much against tight ends, and like Kyle Hamilton, he has all sorts of great attributes, but
Including
erasing
the
tight
blitzing
ends is
aspect of
probably
it.
his best. But he's gonna blitz. He can take the deep half just fine. Don't want him taking the deep middle, but every other aspect he's excellent at. So I throw him at strong safety, have him line up in the box half the time. Yeah, I think there's a big drop off. There's another couple of good strong safeties in my opinion, like those types, but they come with their issues,
He's
and
by far
Kyle's
the
still
best.
young and good.
Yeah, so what we were talking about potentially having a players at low value positions you'd be down to pay for, right? Like you'd be okay with them making a good contract, like maybe resetting the market at that position, right? He would be my one safety that I would be fine. Like if the Ravens gave him a bag, I'd be like, okay, that makes complete sense. Uh,
Yeah.
the versatility helps a ton. He is a tight end eraser. He is so much better than I thought he was going to be. I think that 40 time really threw me off, but he's just such a smart football player. Like he's a
Yeah.
football player. His instincts are just fantastic.
And he is
Um,
so I'm a Notre Dame fan. Like I appreciated him. I loved watching him as a Notre Dame fan. Um and yeah, the 40 time messed with me too because when I watched him I was like, this dude is athletic. I know this dude's athletic.
mhm,
What the hell happened? And I had to bump him down a little bit. I ended up bumping him down behind Brisker, and I didn't even want to say the name of the other guy because it's kind of embarrassing at this point. And this guy was all we had the same basically 1, 2, 3. We swapped 1 and 2, but
mhm.
it's Lewis Scene.
Like, we've seen so much.
Yeah,
And it's just
I should have just stuck to what I thought I was seeing in Notre Dame. He is
yep.
athletic. He's super athletic in the NFL. His straight line speed is honestly probably a little better than his 40 time, but like that's not all athleticism is. This dude is super athletic. He can do everything, and the instincts are just off the charts.
He sees the game very well. I think so the thing is too, it's not like either of us are combine build at all. Like I don't really give a shit about athleticism it depends. Obviously, if you got a freak athlete, you got a freak athlete. But at a certain
Yeah,
point, the way that we both see it is if it's a red flag, it's a red flag. And
Yeah.
his 40 time felt like a red flag.
It's a little
And it,
reddish.
yeah. And so,
But
like,
then
it wasn't.
there's also athleticism in the another sense of like I don't know if Kyle Hamilton ever played basketball offhand. I assume he did because like I just feel like he could do it like whatever. Like it's that type of athlete. It's like what made me struggle
Nimble.
with Keon Coleman. It's like is Keon Coleman athletic? His 40 time kind of says no. But then he goes through the gauntlet super faster than anybody, and he played basketball at Michigan State for Tom Izzo. So it's like it's that type of athleticism where it's like it's not measuring right, but it's like this dude is just an athlete, like the classical term of an athlete.
I think there's a lot more that goes into it beyond because I do think a lot of it is being able to see the field, being able to see the game, seeing space, seeing like your lanes as you're coming cutting through, right? Being able to find the path of least resistance and the fastest path to a spot, right? Whereas there are players, so like for instance, my next pick is not going to be Roquan Smith, even though we got Fred Warner, and he would be the second best linebacker. But with Dexter Lawrence, I want to go with a 4-3. And why do I not want Roquan Smith? Fantastic athlete, fantastic linebacker, not great at finding space and cutting through as he's scraping over, is not great at being able to shed blockers. I don't think he's a 4-3 fit, right? So there are certain things that like can also feed into it, in my
Yeah.
opinion, beyond that. And it also can depend on scheme and stuff like that. But I think with like Kyle Hamilton, he sees it so quickly, his instincts are so great that it makes up for any of that. And then on top of it, he is able to find lanes and just go through.
Yeah, it can get a little more exposed, like downfield, like
Mhm.
than a linebacker. But like safety and linebacker are very much the same. Like what you gain in a step and instincts is
Yeah.
is far more than the step you gain in athleticism.
Yeah. It's we're
That
talking
didn't come
about
out correctly, but you know what I mean.
well, we're talking about the instincts will gain you a split second or split second or two. What's the difference between a 4-6 and a 4-4? A split second or two. So if you can get that, it's huge. It is a massive step up. That's
Yeah,
why I like. Yeah, I was gonna do more bear stuff, but I'm gonna back off. I was gonna say Jack Sanborn, phenomenal instincts, not the greatest athlete, but that's why he's able to get somewhere so quick. He just sees it and goes. Um, let's see here. Whew, all that Kyle Hamilton talk, and I knew who my next guy was going to be anyway. So we're going to go with offense. Our second offensive guy is coming off the board with Trent Williams.
so I started
You
off
probably
today ranking Trent Williams as like left tackle 4 for this draft
Ow. He's old,
because of his age. However,
tackles
I
age.
ended. I hey, hang on.
Mhm.
I know this is your pick, but I do want to point this out. I ended with him as left tackle 1 because I went back and I saw how extremely dominant he has been. I realized, and again, I like to use the shorthand Madden rating system. So like this year he's a 99. Next year, what at worst he's like a 97, and then
6.
like
Yeah.
next year he's like a 94. Like
Hmm.
he's not going to drop off completely off a cliff. He probably will not be the best left tackle in the league in 2026, which is what you ideally would like
Hmm.
as Adam picking your team. However, he's going to be extremely good. So I was like, the dominance he's likely to give you next year, like, yeah, he is still left tackle 1.
Yep.
So
And I do think with how he's played, there is a good drop off. So I think he could still be the best left tackle, but by year 2 or 3, not sure. I think it depends on how he aged. But remember, Jason Peters has played left tackle into his 40s pretty decently as like a Hall of Fame left tackle. And we're talking about Trent Williams is going to his 36th year. There's a bunch of like offensive linemen. The closer you are to the ball, typically the longer your career can last. Because you used to, it's not always about like straight line speed and some of the quickness, right? It's more short bursts. So you're typically able to you age more gracefully if it's less about um, that type of athleticism. So I'm
yeah,
hopeful that he'll stay there. And I wanted to make sure I got my left tackle one because I do like there are some really good tackles in this. There are a lot of good right tackles. Um, Still trying to think if I want to take another one right away and have my bookends. But I feel like that he's so dominant in both phases of the game that I would absolutely bet on him still being dominant at least next year and if not into year 2.
yeah. What was I gonna say? Don't remember. Oh, I had 4 guys on the board ranked ahead of him, not counting My board gets a little screwed up once a position gets taken because then their value over replacement goes up. But item 4, so I think that's a pretty good pick. And I think it actually is going to alter what I was going to do. Let me see who my left tackle 2 is, because I think it might be. I don't know. Filled that air for a second, Adam. No, I found him. Okay, yeah, it's the same guy. So I don't know what side of the line I'm going to have this guy play on yet, but it is going to be an offensive tackle, and it's going to be Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, that's when you said I don't know what side. I'm like, it's gonna be worse. He
Yeah.
just played. He played a bit of left this year and did really well. I'm gonna put him in left for now. We could switch him over if you decide to take another left. I don't know. I know there's a few good right tackles I would take. I can't think of who I would want at left right after. I do, but I think there's a couple right tackles I would rather take. So I'm gonna actually hold off on that position going forward.
I think. Ooh, good to know. I think I had Wirfs ranked as my right tackle 2 and my left tackle 2. So once the left tackle went on off the board, I didn't want to risk you taking Wirfs as your top right tackle, which doesn't sound like you would have, but I think you probably should have. I don't want to risk ambidexterity in this. I don't know. Like, if a guy's mostly played one spot and excelled at that spot, I want to keep him at that spot. So I personally ranked right guards, left tackles, right tackles differently. But in Wirf's case, I know he excels at both. So
yep,
we've seen it. It gives me versatility. If my, shitty 60 overall in Madden right tackle is a little better than my 60 overall left tackle backup, then it gives me the opportunity to move him to the other side.
Sure. Awesome. Let's see here. Thinking about what I want to do. I didn't have my next move. I really want to I'm contemplating doing something that would absolutely be shocking, but I want to hold off on it. Because I think the next pick that I want to take is I kind of want to fill out that last corner spot.
Oh,
I want
God,
2 guys.
Doing something shocking would be such bad video content. Don't do it, Adam. Don't do it.
Well, I also still want this team to be good, and I feel like if I do this, I am really doing something that is against a lot of what my core beliefs. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and take. What?
I know exactly what you were going to do. It was intriguing. I think so.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Johnson right now. Here's my thing with corners. If you have 2 really fucking good corners, good luck throwing the ball. Because at that point, you can have a mediocre pass rush. Offensive linemen can't block for more than a couple seconds. Right? Once you get to 2.5, 2.7, 3 seconds, someone's going to lose. Unless you're the Chicago Bears defensive line from 2 years ago, which is absolutely true. What's up? You're doing the answer. They can see the answer. What's up?
I'm starting to get closer to the mic. Your audio's cutting out.
Oh, is it? Sorry. Yeah. What's it called? So the big thing for me is having them there, right? Even if I have my 60 overalls coming at defensive line, having them there ensures that 60 doesn't absolutely destroy my pass rush. Because I'm going to be able to win with the back. My corners are going to be able to cover both sides, at both of those top wide receivers, because there's so many good ones. I'm going to make sure that I'm able to cover them, because guess what? Patrick Surtain and Jalen Johnson can face a Justin Jefferson and hold their own, unlike a lot of other corners.
For sure. I'll say this is the first pick I'm not with.
That's right.
It was going to happen. How do I say?
You want to prove it year, don't you?
I feel like he had his prove it year. I truly feel like he was one of the best corners in football 2 years ago. And there was just a few fluky, nonsensy injury. It's been happening the whole time. I think he's great. I don't think that much separates him from 3 or 4 other guys who are around the same age. And as an example, this is not I don't think either of us are going to take this guy. So I'm going to point this guy out as an example. Mm-hmm. Marshawn Lattimore. He's sometimes ranks as cornerback 30 in PFF. Sometimes he ranks as cornerback 5. And am I confident that Jalen Johnson has reached a tier based on this one season that
So I'm making
that
that
he's
bet.
always
That's the
going to
thing.
be up there? Or is it going to
That's
be
the
more
thing.
like kind of a Lattimore where it's like, yeah, the talent's clearly there. He's clearly one of the better ones in the NFL, but like sometimes shit just
I'm
happens.
I'm making that bet that this will continue, right?
I hope
Um,
so. I
because if
I
it's like this
I
season,
can't get there.
if it's like this past season, there is a massive there's because to me there's Patrick Surtain and Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner being, in my opinion, the obvious number one guy, probably the best defender in the league because of what he does. Um, it's those two guys, and then like you said, it becomes almost a dime a dozen. I think I got some guys that I can like split, right? But I think with what Jalen Johnson showed, he showed their production. And if I can make that bet and he actually hits, right, that is such a win. So it is a little bit of a risk reward here. Because if he does, if this is more of like a arbitration, it's not real, right? And he's more like what he was last year, or the year before, which is still a very good corner. That was a waste of a pick. So I'm making that bet of he's going to continue this and obviously like when he was second team All Pro. I think Deron Bland beat him out for first team All Pro. I remember looking at everything, and I obviously have watched him, so I bring up the advanced stats. Not saying that I haven't watched these guys. Deron Bland was just the pick sixes are insane. That's not. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Like regression to the mean. Holy crap! How
Yeah.
did you do that? That's why he got first team All Pro. There aren't a lot of corner there isn't a corner that's really close to what we saw from Jalen Johnson this year outside of Sauce Gardner. Even Patrick Surtain didn't really do as well, and I love
That I
it.
agree with. I
Yeah.
Sertan was objectively worse than Jalen was. I guess you're right. I mean, I don't like to term it a prove it year because I truly do think he'd proven it over the previous 3 years of his
Oh,
career.
he's proven the fact that he's a great starter, yeah. But I guess prove it you're in the are you one of those guys that you want? Like there are
Yeah,
very few
and so
guys
I
who I would
guess I
say,
agree. I think I need him to have another season like he just had without any of the excuses that are all valid excuses, but I need him to have another one for me to consider him in this tier.
yeah. So
Um,
I'm adjusting my mic really quickly. Let me know if it gives us a little bit of issues. Um, cool, awesome. I'm glad we talked that out. Jalen, we both love Jalen Johnson. We're both Bears fans, obviously, so like both love Jalen Johnson. I think we like our secondary a ton. Let's go on. Who are you taking with your next pick?
um, man, I should have thought about this, huh? Um,
It gets hard when we get into conversations. I almost forgot that I wanted Trent Williams while we were talking about what's it called? Kyle Hamilton.
I'm going to just take. I'm seeing a bunch of names here. I kind of feel like the cream of the block the other guy from getting the best possible guy at the other position. That the cream of that crop has kind of petered out. So I'm just going to take the best guy, and it's going to be Justin Jefferson.
All right. Well, that's going to affect where I go next because I thought I could wait a little bit, but I'm not letting you get number two.
I
J
don't know
Jeff's the
if you know
best.
who my number two is.
Oh, well, we'll find out. J Jeff is, I want to say by far, he's definitely the best wide receiver in the league. There are a bunch of guys like, okay, so there are a few guys that I think at any given year they could be the most productive wide receiver that year, right? And that's why I
Sure.
think we both are like, okay, he's the best offensive player that's a non-quarterback probably in the NFL. I don't know if you'd agree with me, but we can wait to take him because there are other guys who can produce just as well in any given year. You just expect Justin Jefferson to have that consistency at the top.
Yeah, he will not be the best receiver statistically in the NFL this year. Um,
Oh, really?
but I mean,
This wait, you mean this
right?
past year? Yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
Oh,
well, this
this
past year he
because
was
he's
hurt.
injured.
I'm saying this
Yeah.
coming year he will not be. This past year he was hurt. I'm saying this
Oh,
coming year he will not be the best receiver in the league
you don't believe in Sam Darnold?
statistically.
Is it?
Oh boy, I fucking hate Sam Darnold.
Oh
It
yeah.
would
Then
be the ultimate insult for me as somebody who's been right on the money in my quarterback evaluation of Sam Darnold every step of the way for him to finally do anything at all in the goddamn Vikings. I believe more in JJ McCarthy, who I don't like either, than I believe in
God.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
But neither guy do I believe in at all.
Yeah, and that is going to affect his production. You're right.
But he's incredible. He's everything. He's circus catches. He's separation. He's every route in the route tree. I have him as the top. I separated to XYZ.
Mhm.
He's the top X, top Y, top Z on my list.
You can play him anywhere.
Like
There's
X would be weird, but who would you rather have at X than Justin Jefferson anyway?
um
Like out of those three, he's the least prototypical X. But like, I'm not taking anybody else at X over this guy.
yeah, I mean if I could reverse age, there might be one other person that I would take, but I think at this point they're a little
DeAndre
bit old.
Hopkins.
Oh yeah, actually that's a good one too. I was thinking Devontae Adams.
Yeah, yeah, that would be the other one.
Yeah. Oh man, do I want to take this? I don't know if I want to do I want to go wide receiver? No, you know what? I'm taking Christian McCaffrey. I'm doing what I said earlier that I was going to surprise you guys.
I was gonna do it with my next pick because I knew you'd already hinted at it, so I knew you
Yep.
were gonna do it at some point soon.
I figured you
Yeah,
could tell when I said it's something that I wouldn't typically do and it goes against my values. I'm like, and you said, "Oh, I know." I'm like, "Shit, he knows exactly." Because you know low value position running back. There is not a running back that comes close. Goes back to that other pod that I want to do. This he would absolutely like. His game is his type of play style and what he does is hopefully something that I think doesn't age terribly. It's not the typical. He doesn't have the typical running back skill set what he does in the pass game, what he gives you in explosives. Uh he's a well-rounded running back who's also an absolute threat. It's a weird combination of skills from Christian McCaffrey. And I don't think there's another running back that even comes close. Sure you could talk about running backs that come close in the run game, right? But they're not going to give you what he gives you in the pass game anywhere near what he gives you in the pass game if they do. And I don't think there's a running back that even touches what he does for you out of the backfield.
yeah. I saw a cool stat on Twitter that I bookmarked a while ago. So the year the 49ers traded for McCaffrey last season, from weeks 1 to 8, the Niners faced man coverage on just 36% of dropbacks. That was 31st in the NFL. 30 teams faced man coverage more often than they did. Weeks 9 through 18, after they got McCaffrey, fifth most in the NFL. McCaffrey, and maybe there's some other factors, but essentially McCaffrey forces you to play man.
Yep. He dictates the coverage.
Yes.
That's where
A
I'm
running back
going
that
there.
can do that is something. We can't wave that away. That is a guy worth paying. The problem for me is why he once again he was only the 4th ranked guy on my list here, and I fuck this list. This list kind of sucks, but maybe you should have a little higher. It's just the age thing. I don't know. Running back could
Yeah.
drop off at any point. I don't think there's any chance in the world that he's the 3rd best running back in the NFL in 3 years. He's
I do
small.
think his game set because he plays more like because it's out of the backfield. It's a receiving skills that I think will continue. Right. It just to me the issue is what's the wear and tear look like. The one nice thing is he's been injured so much that he doesn't have all that much tread within the past few years outside of like last year. Obviously, his usage was up. Um, so I am wondering like how much punishment has his body taken and is can how much can it take? But his play style itself, I think, will age well, at least into like 30, 31. Where it's like, how old is I should probably double check this. How old is Christian
Derrick Henry.
McCaffrey right now? No.
McCaffrey is probably like 29.
28. Yeah. So I think I
Mhm.
get him to like age 31. Um according to
Oh, he
PFF
just had a
28.0 on the dot.
birthday. He just had a birthday
Yep. Holy cow.
last
Happy
week.
birthday, Christian McCaffrey. So
Happy
yeah,
birthday, Christian.
I'll have him through his 31, like 31st year, right?
Yeah,
So
you're
there's a
bound.
chance.
You're absolutely bound to have a drop off. Definitely
Higher
a
growth.
drop off in taking a handoff ability.
Yeah.
He will not be one of the 10 best running backs in the NFL in terms of taking a handoff, but he could be just good enough at it while providing a ton of pass game value that it's still fine. I think it's a good pick.
Sweet.
Now, if there was a running back worth a damn that I was aware of in college right now, I would get into a big argument with you about letting me take a college running back as my running back.
Is there a
Well, I
running
guess I
back?
can't. I guess I can't do that because I need them to play this year. So
Is there a running back? Which
whatever.
running back? Who are
No,
you
I'm saying
thinking of?
if I
Oh,
was aware that there was one, I don't think there is one.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think there's a guy projected to go in the first round next
Is
year.
is is that how you feel
Quinshon
about Russ?
Judkins.
Is that how you feel about the other NFL running backs? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, no, I'm going to take Bijan Robinson with my last pick, and I'm going to be really happy about it. But um,
Yeah, Bijan's a good
I'm
pick.
just in my mind, it's like the younger the better,
Mhm.
especially with this 3-year window. I want to be sure, but that's where I can get like by year 3, I will have the better running back than you. I'm confident in that. But
Okay.
McCaffrey's so head and shoulders above the rest right now that I'm saying good pick.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. I understand. No, and I would agree. I would think I'm going for those 2 years, and then hopefully my 6 year overall has a good enough line that it doesn't matter. Um, sweet. Where are you going next?
I'm gonna fuck you, I think, and I'm going to go. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna fuck you. I hope I'm fucking you. Uh, I'm gonna go Jamar Chase.
You're not fucking me. But you are making me have to switch what I'm going to go next.
I
I don't
certainly
know if I
was hoping
have.
to make you do that.
Yeah, I don't know if Jamar Chase is in my top 5. Obviously, he's awesome. I do think that he has. So we talked about Justin Jefferson being able to do everything. I think Jamar Chase is the opposite. He's got a not a limited skill set. I don't want to say that because he's obviously a top guy. He has a more limited skill set, right? We're talking about the yak opportunity is great. We're talking about hitting those like he's very good at like static routes and then breaking it, right? I want to see more. Um, I want to see his route tree expand quite a bit more. I think he could be one of the best wide receivers in the game if that happens, or the
Yeah,
best.
I don't know. I wonder. I kind of wonder how much of that is them playing to Burrow's strengths. Like Burrow's a very weird quarterback, and how he attacks the field, it works really well.
Right, but I mean, I would think you could throw a dig in there, right? I think Burrow could throw a dig, and I don't feel like I see digs, crossers, and stuff like that in. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I see like digs, crossers, etc. in like Jamar Chase's game.
I can't correct you without looking at perception,
Like, well,
but that feels right. He feels more of a short or long threat
yeah,
more than an intermediate type
like
threat.
curls, and like spot routes, stuff like that. Oh, great, phenomenal. And
Yeah.
then he'll take that shit. He'll go like crazy. Um, hold on, real quick. We want to look up Jamar Chase. I gotta log in. And I got to enter in my one password, of course, because it's been that long. But on that note, and so like, hit me. What are you thinking with Jamar Chase? Any other thoughts that you wanted to go through?
I had him as X too, and I know that he's not really the Bengals X, but he plays like an X. So
He can.
coupled with the
He's
fact
fun.
that coupled with the fact that he's played with Justin Jefferson before, I just I it's making me rethink who my quarterback's going to be. Honestly, just getting those boys back together.
All right, so I'm wrong
He
according
he
to.
plays like an X, and that means I could put Jefferson at Z without any issue, and he'll face very little man coverage or press coverage, and I
Probably the
love that.
easiest way for me to share this is just do this. So
So we're
I
full of
am
shit. We're stupid.
wrong.
We're
Yeah,
stupid. We're stupid guys.
I
You
will take that.
should not have shared that. Delete this part of the video.
Hold on real quick. I want to see 2022 because now I'm a little off.
I do wonder about volume a little bit. I just don't feel like I feel like Burrow wants to attack the sidelines and wants to attack underneath, and he's not. He's the rare quarterback that gets away with not doing a ton of intermediate. He's good at it. He just prefers not to.
Yeah. I mean, his route percentage, 11.2% of them are digs. He doesn't run a lot, though. He runs slats, screens, outs, and digs, and the rest are very limited. So I think that might be it. It might be just usage. So you're correct. I feel bad though that the one example I use is the one that he actually does 11% of the time. Um,
Yeah.
but let's see here.
Delete this. Delete
Success.
this video. Start over. Start over. We're not wrong. We're not
um,
stupid.
no, I don't care if I said something stupid. I'd rather correct myself on camera than let people walk away with the wrong impression and think something that isn't correct. Um, His 2022 was also very good. So I am a dumbass, and that was a good pick. On that note, though, I'm
I
gonna have to go.
never think anything that's not correct.
Well, I'm gonna go CD Lamb. Um,
Ah, I
who
thought
did
there was
you
a
think? Of?
chance you might take somebody else, and then I was going to take him and just be set with my top three.
Oh, I could not. No, absolutely not. That's why I said once you took Jamar Chase, I'm like, I can't let you take CD Lamb. CD Lamb's
Yeah.
production wise, has produced almost similarly to Justin Jefferson, quietly, almost similarly to Justin Jefferson, which I think is wild over the past 3 years. Over the past 3 years, too. I'm not talking about a 1 year sample. Which I think is wild. And obviously last year people started to take note with what he was doing. He's a fantastic wide receiver. I think incredibly underrated. There's one more guy that I would probably put a couple more guys I might put in my top tier. Um, he would be my second. So I still get my wide receiver two, even with you having Chase.
Yeah, he was my slot two, my X or X4 and Z3.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
actually going to move him over to the slot as you say that. I think he can play outside. I agree with those rankings. I think he can play outside. When you were asking about other people, he was the next one. I was like, he could probably play X up there. When we were talking about it with Justin Jefferson when that came
I
up,
don't need to see the numbers. He's a
but
fantastic contested catch guy for
yeah,
his size.
yeah,
When I was scouting him, I was blown away by his contested catch ability.
yeah,
He's got incredible ball skills
yeah. But as of
and
now,
the separation to play the slot. He's great.
yeah,
Great pick.
I do think his
I'm pissed you did it.
I do think he is best at slot, but that's where again, so like my criticism of like Jamar Chase and then also saying T Lamb is best at slot, those criticisms are like splitting hairs. That's what we're talking about here when we're talking like I just have to come up with how good these guys are, you have to come up with the most nitpick things when we're trying to figure things out and separate everybody and decide where we're gonna put people. So
Yeah.
cool.
All right, I know what I'm gonna do. I need to make myself uncoverable, I think. And I think there's probably only one guy left that does it. And I ranked him a little lower because he's a little bit older than the rest of the crowd, but
Fuck me. Tyreek
I
Hill.
think he's the only other guy in the NFL who is arguably in this tier.
I waited too long to go wide receiver.
And I try not to populate my team with, I think, objectively bad people, but this is fake, so who gives a shit? Tyreek Hill. Good
Oh,
luck
okay,
covering that.
now you have officially fucked my wide receivers. Just so
Yeah.
you know. I
Yeah.
was hoping you'd go one other place that you wouldn't want to go wide receiver again. Now I'm out of my tier. We're out of tier one. That is my tier one. Um,
So I'm gonna need you to throw Justin into the slot for me.
yeah. Fuck. All right, Quentin
Oh, I
Williams.
like this. I like this. Quinnen. That is my 3 tech too.
I want to come back and talk Tyreek Hill, but I'm going Quentin Williams because I think there are a bunch of very good three techs. I think there's one other guy I would consider taking. That age wise that I'm like, yeah, up there because I'm hopeful. Uh, I think with Quentin Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Miles Garrett, you better have fucking Tua Tagovailoa's time to throw. At this point with your wide receivers, and to be fair, these guys can get separation pretty quick, especially Tyreek Hill. Um, I let's come back to since I did that because I'm like shit, I'm so mad about that pick. I want to just take my pick. Tyreek Hill is a fantastic pick right there. I think there's a massive teardrop. I don't know, a massive one, but that is where the first teardrop ends. Like, the wide receivers we currently have on the board are the top four. After that, you start talking about like you mentioned Tyreek Hill's age. You start talking about age in a way that it actually has started to make some of these guys potentially regress of guys you would maybe consider at that tier.
Yeah.
Um, it's a damn good pick. I hate you for it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with a wide receiver. So when I decide to come back to that, it's gonna be fun.
I mean,
Any,
yeah,
any
Tyreek
thoughts
was
on?
on pace for being offensive player of the year last year. He's 30 though, but like he's still arguably the fastest player in the NFL. So like even if he loses a step, it's like, yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna get 2 more incredible years out of him, I think. And then
Yep.
year 3 might be a little bumpy, but I have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, so
That's fair.
I'm good. I'm good there. Quinnen, yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts. Yeah, let me see where I had him because he was in my second bucket of guys. Um, yeah, I think he's clearly the second most valuable 3 tech. I don't think either of the 3 techs or either of the defensive tackles that I've taken so far are the best 3 tech in football. But for his age,
H.
yeah,
It's the age thing. I
he
would agree
is.
with that. I understand where you're going there with the other guys that you might pick at 3 tech, and I would worry about regression with potentially. Um, but sorry, go on.
That's all I got on him. I don't know. He's a good player.
I personally think with what he's shown, he might be the like obviously with Aaron Donald leaving, might actually be the best 3 tech. Uh, and I right now have somehow outside of Micah Parsons, I have my defensive line exactly how I wanted it as of at the moment, which I want to say is a big deal, but it's really not if you think about it.
I
Since
mean,
it's
it's
only
a
the two
big
of
deal.
us.
You've gotten back building back to front build, but there's something to be said about just having an absolute badass defensive line.
I mean, the thing with the safeties, once you took, I would have Kyle Hamilton and 3 of my 5 backfield done already if you had not taken him. That was gonna be my next pick when you took him. So kind of front pill, but not really. I would have been back pilled if it wasn't for that one move. Um,
Yeah.
cool. What are you thinking next?
Yeah, let's move this along, and I want to keep you from getting my absolute, basically the absolute ideal defensive line that you could have at this point. So I'm going to
Mhm.
take. I've already started taking big pieces of shit, so I'm going to take Nick Bosa.
Mm, you know, here's the thing. Would I love to have Nick Bosa? Would he have been my next one? Yes. Am I super sad about it? I do think there's a teardrop, right?
I think
But
there's one more. I think there's one more guy in the tier. I just if you
yeah,
don't take him, I'll probably take him next. So I don't care.
that's fair. That's fair. I do think there's a potential teardrop at that point. I have to take a look at what I've got because I'm trying to blank through these things. Um, but I do think that I so the piece of
I
shit
guess
part kind
TJ
of fades
Watt's
in.
also on that tier.
That's what I'm trying to
I guess
think
there's
of.
2 more guys in the general tier. Yeah.
So I'm not all that upset. I do think though once you get past a couple more guys, and that's why I've stayed off of it. I wanted Miles Garrett. I think Miles Garrett is far and away the best. And then Michael Parsons, right? Those would be the 2 that I'm like, I need those now. After that, I feel like the other there's enough guys that we could fill 2 rosters. You know what I mean? So I'm not
Yeah.
super sad about that. I remembered another wide receiver that I want in my first tier. I lied, and you should know who this is. I'm actually shocked. You didn't correct because you know somebody that I love dearly, and when he was
AJ
traded
Brown.
during the when he was traded during the draft, I was so pissed off
I think it's a
that
tier below.
he could go. I disagree, man. AJ,
I
and
think
I think
I think he's pushing it, but I think he's a tier below. I don't think I think there's a better wide receiver right now that has not been taken yet. And
you
you'll
do.
probably end up with him anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm done with the wide receivers, but
Okay, I'm trying to think.
um
Oh, is it somebody we both love? No.
nah.
Hmm. Who the hell are you
In fact,
thinking of? Now I'm
we
more.
both have good historical reason to dislike due to what he's done to our team. He's no longer on that team.
Oh, you're thinking Devontae Adams?
Yeah, I think Devontae Adams is still
I
a better
can't. I'm not
receiver
taking.
than him. No,
I might agree with you, but I think the age regression is starting to occur.
I will say this. So I ranked my X's. I ended up with Marvin Harrison Jr. as X4, meaning I almost certainly was not going to end up with him, but I ranked them across positions.
Mhm.
So there's duplicates, and I was like, man, this guy or this guy, I'm going to go with the upside of Marvin Harrison Jr. Like over Puka Nakua, for example. Like,
Yep.
so
So
it gets a little wonky, but I had AJ Brown above him, and like,
mhm.
yeah, I think AJ Brown should be on one of these 2 teams. I think I had him X3.
I the only reason I disagree is I can't tell because obviously it's the Raiders weren't exactly we're a shit show. right? I still think he was showing a lot of classic vintage Devontae Adams last year, but
Yeah.
I still worry about that age. He's been in the league for a good bit. He has a skill set. He's never been correct me if I'm wrong. He's not a speed guy. Like he's more so a raw finesse, and like he just wins based off of like his technicality. So I do think age as well. Um, but he's 30. He's almost 30. He's gonna be 32 in the season. That's why. And I agree with you. The thing is, like X, and the other part of that is X wide. There aren't a lot of great X wide receivers. We're talking traditional X, not wide receiver one, the way that people think of it. Like a guy who's on the line that needs to beat press and will win vertically consistently. AJ Brown is that. Um, yeah, I'm stoked about it. Let's go ahead and go on to your next pick.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot left here that I'm worried that you're going to take. I know you got the wild card whammy, and I don't want that to be done with me because I think this guy is valuable enough that I just need to make sure I get him. So I'm going to take Josh Allen.
I was thinking about that, by the way. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I was gonna do it early too, just to fuck you. Because in my opinion, there is a the discourse on Josh Allen pisses me off so much because of the interceptions, and it's like, guys, do you watch the games or just look at the box score stats? Also, Adam Hogue, Adam Johns, or not Johns was in this is CHO. Adam Hogue, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Who the hell uses interception rate over turnover worthy play rate? And in which case, he's got the same as Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Like, come on.
Like if you're smart enough to be using the word rate, like you've already lost the meatheads by using the word rate. You might as well
Exactly.
just use the real stat.
Exactly. And not saying smart enough, but if you're using stats to argue something, use the stat that actually means something. I think the thing that bothers me is also like they'll use volatility. They'll talk about like volatility on other things and like luck. How the hell did you not realize that was luck? And you're telling me that he's the fifth quarterback you would take based on, and especially when it's based on contract too. Because at that point, I'm like, okay, I could kind of get it. No, actually not. I think about it. He's making less than Burrow, Lamar, all the people he ranked above him. Josh Allen is the second best quarterback and is the one guy that I think he gets you 10 wins on his own.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't begrudge somebody for thinking that one of maybe 3 or 4 guys, probably 3 guys, is the actual second best quarterback in the league. But when you're dumb enough to say that he's only the 5th best quarterback in the league, like no individual list could possibly have him lower than 3rd.
To be fair, it was based on contract, and I think they had Stroud ahead of him. So it's Stroud, Lamar, and Joe Burrow. And I can understand switching up Joe Burrow and Lamar up there. I love what Stroud did.
You can do
I love
Lamar.
what
You can do Burrow. I think we've maybe lost a little sight of Burrow, and also you could do Justin Herbert.
Oh, you know me. But
Herbert was my QB3. He was my disaster plan.
It'll be the one in my heart, but he's also my QB3 right now. I do think that in my opinion, Josh Allen is a step, like at least a good step ahead of both Lamar and Joe Burrow. Stroud, I want to see a prove it year. We've seen a lot of rookies have success their first year and then go to oblivion.
Probably not like that, but yeah, not enough to be in this conversation.
Yeah. And to be fair, what I saw from him when you actually watch him play are things that I think will translate to continued success, right? Unlike when like Mac Jones had a good rookie year, I'm sitting there like, this is not real. So I'm very bullish on Stroud. I just think that you've got to have a couple more years before you even start to consider them a top 5 prospect. Top 8, probably. Or not prospect, you know what I mean? Top 5 player, quarterback. Cool. Awesome. I think I want to just finish off. I know I don't have to, but I'm worried you're gonna use your thing on me. And I know that I like this guy. I want to make sure that I get my last receiver who I would even consider has a potential of being a tier 1 guy. And that's Brandon Ayuk.
Wow.
Ooh, what was that?
I just said wow. He was he definitely made my page of guys who were draftable. and it's not a big page. It's 90 guys across 22 positions. He made my page. I don't think I would have taken him. But let's see. You got your X. You got your slot.
Technically, I think.
This guy's probably my top Z left.
Yep,
Like if you
that's where
go
I'm putting him.
Ayuk Z,
Yep,
Brown X,
X.
Lamb, Bet. I think that's right.
Yep,
I
that's
don't. I
exactly
don't
how I
think
was thinking.
Ayuk. I don't think Ayuk's one of the best 6 receivers in football yet. I'd probably put him more like 8, 9 ish. But he's going to age
Neither of us
well
have
over
done
the next
our
3 years.
neither of us have done our wild card, so I know that you probably don't want to. I want to know who your top 6 are, but I feel like you're not going to want to talk about it until I use my wild card.
I'm not taking another receiver.
Okay.
It's everybody here except Ayuk and Devontae, I think.
Oh, so you're throwing Devontae up there.
Yeah.
The other person that I would consider is like DK Metcalf, who I feel like AJ Brown would be redundant there, right? With skill set, I think AJ Brown is a much better
Yeah, I think
receiver.
skill set wise, you're good with Ayuk. I think the other thing I might have considered if I were you would have been taking Amon Ra, putting him in the
I
slot, and
contemplated
having
that.
Lamb as the Z. That might flow a little better for me, but it's very close.
Yeah, I like Amon Ra a ton. Great possession receiver. Um, I'm sort of built on more explosives, and I think CD Lamb can fill in a lot of that possession aspect, while still giving you a lot of explosive. Um, I know I love Ayuk. I think the talk on his contracts, I think, has gone a little too 49ers heavy instead of player heavy, right? I don't feel like people are. I don't. It almost feels like people don't understand his game and how damn good he is, and people still think that like Debo's like the number one there when he's not. Ayuk has clearly become their top receiver, and he is fantastic. Uh, I think he can easily work his way into that top tier. I do have him right a hitch underneath it. So I've got my top 5 guys, and then that tier break, and I have him as a hitch underneath it, thinking that he can get in there on his side because he's not even on his second. All these guys except for well, Jefferson, Chase, and Ayuk are not on their second contract, and I think they have a lot more room to grow. So
Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking about my next pick here.
honorable mention to Puka Nakua. I want to set another season like that. It was hard not to. Also, I love Tank Dell. I really contemplated just drafting him to mess with you.
Yeah, I I got nothing to say, man. I was wrong. Well, the one thing I think I've already brought it. I brought it up on our draft video. I just pretended like I watched him in college just to like sound smart. I guess like I never watched that motherfucker. If I'd seen him, I would have loved him.
Yeah, I think my love for him started being you were just like I don't get it, and I rubbed you a little bit the wrong way.
I just looked at the
Um,
measurables and they weren't there for me. I was like,
mm,
I can't get
quick,
behind this. All right,
just
I
quicker
know
than
what I
me.
want to do. So I'm gonna say this really. No, I'm not gonna say it because you're gonna. I don't. I want you to maybe pick the wrong guy. So,
Mhm.
um, I did not envision this setup, but I'm going to take my left tackle, move Wirfs over to right tackle,
What is it?
and I'm going to take Christian Darrisaw.
Oh, not who I would have done, but a very good pick. I don't know. Had you have taken who I'm thinking, uh, I mean, I guess not with what I have set up. Um,
I was
he's a
between
fan.
Darrisaw and somebody much different than Darrisaw, who you probably are going to take. And there was a time where I thought that this unspoken person might have been one of my first couple of picks until I realized that Wirfs is probably a better right tackle, a good enough right
And
tackle.
is it Penei Sewell?
You know what's wrong is that I started rambling too much and that it just kind of gave away exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, there was a point where I thought Panay Sewell might have been like my first pick. And then I was like,
I
there's
don't
another
want you to.
guy who I already know is a good right tackle.
Yep. You're right, by the way. And had you not have just taken Darisaw, I'm willing. God, no. Now that we're talking about it, now I'm scared you're going to actually use your blocker on that. I'm trying to think of it. Give me a second. I want to think about my right tackles real quick. Because there's also Jordan Mailata, right? But I think that Penei Sewell is, I mean, of all tackles, probably one of the best tackles in the league. Uh, give you a moment. Got wifey duty stuff.
I understand what we have a drinks fridge, and I
Hmm,
forgot to turn on the light in the drinks fridge. And when it's the weekend, you turn on the light of the drinks fridge, and I fucked that up.
got it. So crap. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Penei Sewell and Jordan Mailata. The reason why I'm hesitating on taking Sewell right now is I also think Jordan Mailata is like right there, but I not right. He's not. Like I feel like Penei Sewell's up there with like the Trent Williams of right tackles. So it's a little difficult now that you know that. I should have said shit because now you know that I want to pick him and you've got your blocker still. But
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I'm gonna waste it on this, so I think you're fine.
oh,
Yeah, personally, I would just be. I think I worry a little bit about the unknown ambidextrosity of these guys,
right,
and
I agree. I guess I haven't been thinking about injury as much, right? As I feel like
no,
you've
ambidextrosity,
right.
whether
Why would
they
I need
can
to
actually.
switch unless somebody gets injured?
Oh, well, no, you already have a left tackle, so why would you take my Lotta? Is my point.
Isn't Mailata right? Am I
No,
blanking? I
he's the
thought
left tackle. Lane
why I
Johnson's the
thought
right
Lane
tackle.
was the left. Shoot. Okay, never mind. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, then it's gonna be Sewell. Shit. Now I feel like I have to take him. You just said you wouldn't though, so I'm gonna take you at your word. And
it's not a promise. It would be funny
oh,
if I took him.
it would be. I'll just
Plus,
have to
I
find
got
somebody
Tristan
else.
Wirfs with the left tackle, right tackle versatility. I could slot Panay right in there. I'm not
It.
promising anything.
I feel like so really quickly. I know I am doing a 3-4, so we're gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna have a third linebacker, right?
I think I'm
Um,
clearly 4-3 pilled at this point.
yeah.
No, no, I can go either way
Oh,
still.
sorry, I meant 4-3. Did I say 3-4 on accident?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm clearly doing a 4-3 because I've got my one tech and my three tech. When you decide we'll switch this over, you haven't taken your DIs yet. I think it's going to be very much so based off of how you envision your tackles being used and what tackles you want to do, in my opinion. And your
Yeah.
linebackers will matter, but I think Fred Warner is more versatile. There. I am going to take my first tight end, George Kittle.
Mm.
I think okay, so everyone's.
We have the same opinion. Go ahead.
Did you think that I would go Kelsey or somebody else?
I thought the odds were high enough that I could maybe wait. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I thought I listen. If I know something, there's a good chance you know it too. So
That's fair.
yeah,
We talk
he's
too
low
much.
key the best.
It's
I don't
he.
think I don't think we talked about this that much. And if we have, you've probably forgotten what I thought about it. But yeah,
It's, his usage.
go ahead. Sorry.
The he is one probably the most well-rounded tight end at the top. Two, his usage in the receiving game. It's not that he's not phenomenal as a receiver. When he needs to take over a game, he can absolutely take over a game. But why do they need him? They've got Debo Samuel, they've got Brandon Ayuk, they've got Christian McCaffrey. They have so many weapons at his opportunities to. They just use they essentially it limits his role in comparison to most
Yeah.
other tight ends.
And
Of
also, I
course,
don't.
Mark Andrews gets that X yards and X production versus
Yeah.
George Kittle. Who the hell else is Lamar throwing to outside of Isaiah Flowers and the corpse of OBJ? I think George Kittle is
I
a
take some
and
offense to that.
of course I think George Kittle one age too. Like Kelsey's starting to get older. You're starting to see him save himself during the early parts of the season, so that he's more ready during the playoffs, right? Uh, but I still think that George Kittle's the best tight end in the league, even if we were to take Kelsey and him at.
Yeah, I put it this way. I and first of all, I bet I'm not going to look it up, but I bet Kittle has to pass block on an unsized uh, number of his snaps compared to some of the other top guys.
Yep.
And again, all the mouths to feed, the low volume because they're running offense. but he's arguably the best blocking tight end in the league. He's 4 years younger than the guy everybody thinks is the best tight end in the league.
I have
That
PFF grades
matters.
pulled up right now. Let
Kelsey's
me
clearly slowing down a bit.
like I have the PFF stats pulled up right now. George Kittle has 443 run blocking snaps. Kelsey has 289. We're talking about 160-ish less. Run blocking grade 81.1 versus a 46.9. Receiving grade 85.2 versus an 87.8. We're splitting hairs there at like a two difference. He's a phenomenal receiver. He just doesn't get as many opportunities. Still has 1,000 yard. No, hold on. I was looking at total snaps. I had pull over, but on top of that, like Mark Andrews 58.8 run blocking grade. TJ Hawkinson 56.1. And if there's one thing that I think
A little
PFF
surprising,
is
actually.
really good at is grading blocking, and especially run blocking.
Yeah.
And I see it with my own eyes. And then on top of that, you're not losing anything as a receiver. It's just the opportunities aren't there for him.
Yeah.
I think
You
he's
might
clearly the best.
you're potentially losing a little bit of stuff. Like maybe you're losing a little bit of if we're just talking versus Kelsey, which I'm not willing to concede that Kelsey's the number 2 tight end on who should be
In
the
this
guy who should be
draft,
taken second.
yeah, in this draft, maybe not.
But if we're comparing them, I'd say Kelsey is a little more vertical, a little more box outy
Mhm.
uh,
More
as a
basketball player.
receiver.
Yep.
Yeah, there's definitely differences, but Kittle also offers some stuff in the receiving game that Kelsey doesn't offer, and
Mhm.
all the other stuff on top of that, and the age. Like, yeah, I think it's. I don't even think for the purpose of this draft. I just think Kittle is swap the two. Put Kittle in Andy Reid's offense, and put Kelsey in Shanahan's offense. Who's surviving? Kittle,
I, yeah, yeah, especially because Shanahan's going to care a lot more about that run blocking too. So
right?
Kelsey's going to see his usage drop because of the coaching preferences.
Now,
Um,
I will say, you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, so
I know there's a little.
I do think you want to get him as boy.
Hey, you got
I'm
another
not sure
tight
I
end slot.
care. I'm not sure I care enough to block you.
I'm not sure I care either because there's a few tight ends I think at that point that I can take as my tight end too. It depends on what I want my tight end to. I don't think I'm getting a tight end to who's going to be uh as well rounded. So it's going to really depend on where I feel like I want to go uh with what that guy's going to be used for.
Mercedes Lewis, baby.
Hell yeah! You know what's funny as hell though? I'm looking at this. Guess where he's at on their grading? Uh he's the
It's
fifth
got to be
ranked
way up
graded.
there.
Yeah, because it's block. I mean, most of his usage is in run blocking, so his pass blocking grade doesn't affect him much, and his run blocking grade is good. It's a 73.7. So
He caught like
there
12
aren't a lot
touch.
of well
He got
graded
like
tight ends.
12 touchdowns. It was like third or fourth year in the league. He caught like 12 touchdowns. It was crazy.
It's wild. I did not know that.
Love Mercedes Lewis. Love his name. The A instead of the E. Like
Yeah.
why? I love Mercedes Lewis. All right. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna take Trent McDuffie.
Um,
I have him
I
as my third ranked outside corner and my second ranked slot corner.
going to throw him in
So
the slot.
again,
He's
I don't know yet.
versatile. He's got that versatility. I'd agree there.
I
I
gotta
like Trent.
say, I have a feeling my I'm gonna end up taking a guy for the slot that is not that guy. So
Um, I like Trent McDuffie a lot. I think he's my top in my next tier of corners. When I was thinking about it, I wanted to go. I think if JJ doesn't have we were talking about like JJ, if he continues to have the season he had last year, great. Then I have a clear differentiation. If not, then I could have gone Trent McDuffie. Like it's a coin flip at that point. He would have been one of my next guys on there.
yeah, I'm not ready to say like
He's also young as hell. It's super early in his
yeah,
career. Um,
it can go either it can go anywhere. Yeah, but I mean he was better than Jalen was grades wise last season, and he was around the same. Not last season. I'm sorry, 2 years ago,
he was really
and he was around the same ballpark this past
young.
season.
JJ was a top graded corner last year at a 90.8. That's my first time looking at this actually in a while. He's a 90.8 JJ, and then Trent McDuffie was an 84.8. I would say I mean, getting a 90 is king
Sure,
low.
Jalen,
Yeah,
I mean, was clearly a
last
first team
season,
All Pro. He had an
yeah,
amazing season, but like
I'm
Trent's
still pissed off at the wrong
been
one.
right there.
Yep,
If we average the last 2 seasons together, Trent and Jalen, Trent probably comes out a little on top.
yep. I will say this is a tier where I think I've got a few guys with Trent McDuffie's tier that I'm less worried.
I'm
Um,
yeah, the versatility to give me options with my next corner pick is what flips it here because I
yeah.
he's been great in the slot and he's been great on the outside. So I'm happy with this.
Cool. So we're gonna go ahead. Actually, the more I think about it on the corners, the more I
Also,
think I
I'm
should.
just having sauce. I'm just having sauce shadow CD the entire time. So I got that going for me too.
Yeah, I'm happy I have my two because if say you were to put Trent McDuffie there and you somehow got JJ, like I'm looking at Witherspoon and then I'm starting to get a sad like from there. Um, so I'm gonna. Ooh, man, this is where it gets tough. I'm gonna take. Jeez, I might need a second because I really want to think about where I'm starting to look at some drop offs. I don't know if there's all that many left. I mean, linebacker might be one, and I haven't thought about linebacker at all.
But can you fight your own biases?
This is the issue. Is again the next best linebacker is not a linebacker I would want in a 4-3, but he's a damn. I mean, we already talked about it, like Roquan, but he's a damn good linebacker. Um, Shit, there also. Oh man, this is where it gets hard. Yo, no, what am I thinking? Antoine Winfield, come on down. Um,
Yeah. Yep. Great pick. Great pick.
you took Kyle Hamilton in my head. I'm like, oh, there goes my one safety. No, what the hell? Winfield's. I should have taken him. I would have taken him earlier if I hadn't forgot about him. I'm kind of happy I did because I still get him now.
I mean, I said two very different players, but he was my free safety one for sure.
Yep, I was just about to put him at
But
strong
also
safety
with
as well.
like
So.
the weird, the man coverage abilities of a certain type of strong safety.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know what
would
I mean?
agree.
Like he could play
Um,
deep half, but he could take on a tight end.
yep, nope, I would agree.
He could
And
take on a slot receiver.
it's his run defense, I think, that also comes into this with somebody who can
Yeah.
play. Because so he has the ability to play coverages like back half of the field. So either middle third, back up, quarter. Like if he gets a quarter, if he gets a half field coverage, right? Wow, why am I talking like an idiot right now? Uh, he has the ability to play a full like a full half of the field and sit there and playing zone coverage. He also has the ability to play robber and rat. He has the ability to be a phenomenal run defender. So he is like he's a very versatile safety. Uh, the more I think about it, the more I'm wondering if I'm splitting hairs thinking of Kyle Hamilton versus Antoine Winfield. I think that I might actually put Winfield as my safety one. I'm shocked I had forgotten about him until I quickly just looked at the list.
I don't think I can go that far. But
No,
they do such different things. Like Antoine
they
Winfield
are
can
very.
be a traditional free safety.
Mhm.
Antoine Winfield's kind of like low key the like an upgraded honey badger in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
I can see that. I do think that Winfield is more of a traditional safety and Kyle Hamilton is more of a game wrecker, if that makes sense. Like you
Yeah.
can look at Winfield and be like, okay, yeah, that if I'm doing cover two, that half of the field's great. If I'm doing cover one, you've got that. I also depend on you on the run in the run game.
Yeah.
You're just safety.
And
And Kyle Hamilton is a weapon at it.
the Matthew, the turnaround Matthew of it all is like, I think there's probably more in his game to unlock. Like, I genuinely think Antoine Winfield could probably cover uh, a decent slot receiver without
Yep.
much issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. For me, it was what sets Hamilton apart is that he is a strong safety. If that matters in cases like, I mean, you're gonna want a guy in the box a lot, and I don't think as a pure strong safety, like Winfield's a good run defender as a free safety,
Yep.
but as a
I don't
guy
know
that
how
I
much
want
I
in the
want him
box,
cutting
maybe
through the
taking on a
alley.
block, I
Yep.
want Hamilton in there. So that's what differentiates it for me. But yeah, I've been eyeing Winfield, and I just thought a little bit of a wonky fit with Hamilton because they also do some of the same things.
Yep.
I maybe just want like the purest of pure deep metal guys.
Sweet.
That's why I held off, but that's a good pick. It's a good pick.
You'll be running a lot of cover one. I guess with your quarters, you should be running a lot of cover one. Oh, and with my corners, I could be too. But
Yeah, we're doing a lot of 3-in-1 here, I think.
yep.
Um,
I mean,
all
we're
right.
gonna have the staff to basically run the Seattle 3 because that's the only way. Like, you need the personnel to run that defense, even if it was a trending defense for so long. There's a reason why offenses were absolutely dominating for a good portion when that became the trendy defense to run.
So I'm
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where it's becoming really hard to make decisions, aren't we?
yeah, which does not make for great podcasting. So maybe we should try to go a little quick. But man, it's crazy. I don't think Chris Jones is going to be taken in this, and I just got to say, Chris Jones is the best interior lineman in the
He's
NFL
just
by
he's
far, in my opinion. Dexter's got an argument, I guess,
Dexter's
but
got an argument. I still would put Quinnen Williams right up there with him, man. Obviously like Aaron Donald's just really good.
I can't go that far.
It's
But
fine. I mean, Chris,
I'm worried about the age, and there's like a lot of other guys. It's a very
he
rich
also
position.
he takes off a lot of reps, man. Yeah, when he goes hard, you good luck blocking him. But I fully buy into the notion that he takes off the first 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and then starts to show up in the fourth. I want a guy that's going to be there because I mean he's old, right? So it's already showing.
Yeah, a little bit. So I will say I am far more concerned about your potential run game. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, so that's kind of a silly thing to say. But I'm not concerned about my ability to cover your receivers. I am concerned that you have George Kittle, you got Trent Williams, you're gonna take Penei Sewell at some point, probably. I got Micah Parsons out there, and I'm not sure if he's an edge. I'm probably gonna stick him at strong side linebacker, honestly. But I need a little run defense in the middle, so I'm going to go a little off my board here and go with Derek Brown from the Carolina Panthers.
Interesting pick.
I like that it leaves open the possibility that he doesn't necessarily have to be my 1 tech. He could be a good 3 tech. He's got enough penetration ability for that. But if I so choose, he can also be my 1 tech. And I can take a more traditional game wrecker in the middle, depending on what defense I decide I'm going to run here.
That's fair. I'm trying to find him on PFF, and I can't find him on the DI. Is he not listed as a DI for them?
Yeah, he is. What are you sorting by?
Let me go. I was just looking at interior defenders. I wasn't sorted by anything. Yeah, nope, he's there. Okay, why did I not see him? He's listed as a DI. I might be blind. He's got a 91 grade, so he should be up at the top. What am I filtered by? There he is. He's number 4. I'm just passing him up because I probably see the Panther there and I don't expect shit. Yeah, no, that's a fantastic pick. I was just really confused because I'm looking at there and I kept looking. Literally, I see that the first 3 names and my ADHD kicks in. I just start scanning. He probably gives you enough in the pass rush. I don't know, as I haven't looked at what his stats are between 1 tech and 3 tech. I do like the versatility there. I have no problems. I can't really say. I already have my guys, so it's a little difficult for me to even like argue against any of this. Like, I'm not upset because I got my guys. I'm happy. I don't know what I would have
in a
done if I
vacuum,
didn't. I'm trying to think of what I would have done if I hadn't had those guys and he took him, and the other guys weren't available.
yeah. I mean, in a vacuum, I just know that I have a lot of 3 techs available to me, and just to shut out some guys that I'm definitely not going to take, what I could have taken: Matabike, Christian Wilkins, Jeffrey Simmons. Like, there's plenty of 3 tech options. I need a guy that I know can play 1 tech, and yeah, if I choose to take an even more traditional 1 tech, then I can put him at 3 tech.
I would have considered Kobe Turner. It's again, I just don't know. Because these are guys that split around. I don't remember how often both of them play
Just,
one
just.
tech versus three tech. It's hard after you lose Dexter Lawrence to think of
I
like
mean,
who would be your next.
he played enough like 5 tech or sorry,
He's
4 tech
super in college.
in the Rams defense. No, the
Mhm.
Rams because they ran a 3-4 and Darnold on one side and Kobe at the other 3-4 defensive end.
I could pull. I'm trying not to use PFF except for just to have a list of guys' names because I didn't make a list at all. I'm trying not to use any of their stuff because I want to be able to do this off of what I think and how I feel about these guys. But let me pull up their stats real quick. Kobe Turner, A gap was 219 snaps, B gap was 447, and then over the tackle. So you're talking about four tech, 59 snaps. So he did have a good bit of
Well,
usage there, more than I would have expected. But
honestly,
and then
less than I was thinking.
I know that he definitely played a lot of a what's it called one tech, so that 200 plus snaps was about what I was expecting. Your Derek Brown only had 35 snaps at inside this year. Um,
Yeah, but he's 6'5", 320. He's got a
yeah,
great run defense. Great. I got no
to be
issue with him
clear,
throwing him one tech if I
361,
have to.
yeah, 361 last year. So it's
Yeah.
not like and still graded really well. So I want to make sure that people understand. You're right. He can play the one tech. Um,
Mm.
cool. Man, this is where it gets really difficult. Do I want to get my last edge because you got that potential of screwing me there, or do I want to grab? Is there anything that I'm worried about on offense? I mean, there should be. The other issue is like I'm looking at not having any linebackers, and that scares. It's starting to scare the living shit out of me. Um, I know I'm giving
It's
away
such
like
slim pickings.
it's funny with this because it's like it is very slim pickings. Because I'm sitting here and I'm telling you my thought process because of the podcasting stuff, but I'm also like, I know this is what like this is helping you out a lot more. Um, shit. I need to feel free to fill the air. I need to think about what edge I want. If I wanted to go there, because
Well,
I
for
I
running
think just
down, I don't know. I was gonna say Adam's got enough for a 7-on-7 with here's the thing. So Patrick Mahomes is a huge difference maker. The receivers AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk versus Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Tyreek Hill. That's gonna cancel it out, I think. I'm worried about the run game. He's got McCaffrey. That is going to be the best running back in the NFL next year, with the exception of I don't know unless Derrick Henry has like a renaissance. Nick Chubb is up there. Uh, Bijan could be it, but
there's a part of me. By the way, there's a part of me
man,
that's thinking about just taking Bijan right now just to screw you as my wild card because you already told me you're taking him. But the
but
fact that
I
yeah,
don't care. That's the
I
thing.
know, I know. I'm not gonna waste my wild card on that. Keep
I'll
on.
take like Brees Hall or some shit. I'm filling airtime. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
But the run blocking he's getting out of Kittle and Trent Williams, he has the best running back. I mean, AJ Brown and Brandon Ayuk are both pretty good running backs. Like if he fills out this running back receivers, if he fills out this offensive line with some good run blocking, that is where I'm going to be a little scared. And it will probably dictate how I choose to go about my second DI position, frankly. But
so
do I trust Adam to properly figure out how to fill the rest of his line?
oh, I mean, I already have my ideas on exactly where I would want to go. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. Um, because I'm looking at the edge defenders, and I still feel like I've got a couple that I'd be fine with. So I'm gonna hold off there. Now, I think that there's a couple centers that I think are up there, right?
I think
And
exactly two. I think I only
yeah,
bothered to rank two.
really.
Yep.
I would. So here's the thing. It's weird because like looking at age, I think he's still fine. I don't think PFF. So now I'm like, because obviously I've got the list, and they've got them sorted by what's it called, by grade. But I don't know if PFF has the second one. My second one graded correctly, or not graded correctly, but he's graded well. However, I am taking the top graded one because I already had Frank Ragnow. I think is a name that everyone should know, and is probably the best center in the league as of now. Uh,
He edged out number two for me.
Yeah, he was an offensive lineman I did not want to leave this draft without. Um,
Yep.
so since you're talking about the running game and everything like that, and since I was that's what I was contemplating. I was like, I would either want an IOL and probably center because there's so few. Um, or and this is funny because you know how little I care about center, but I think Frank Ragnow is like one of a couple that makes a difference, and then the rest I don't. I could take a 30 graded center and not give a flying fuck. They're gonna get double teamed all the time, or they're gonna get help
Yeah.
from the double team a bunch, and I can figure out how to hide them.
Yeah.
Because even just to be as Bears fans, we've seen bad center play. All the snaps happen so odd. Like if we can get a guy who can at least snap, the 4 freaking times that the guy gets his ass kicked in the pass rush is not going to affect us that much in the long scheme of the game. So, or 3 times really, and the rest of the times we're just handing him double teams. So as long as they can communicate and we can coach them up to do that, we should be good.
Yeah.
And a note of the run blocking, Frank Ragnow gives me a lot of both, especially there.
Yeah. And uh sticking along this theme, I want to block you from who I believe is probably the best run blocking interior offensive lineman in the game. I don't agree with. I think PFF just ranked him as the number one guard in the NFL. I don't think I'm going to go that far. But age into consideration, I'm going to go with Chris Lidstrom from the Atlanta Falcons.
Feel right or left?
He's a right guard.
I don't know. Wait. Um, and I want to take a second and think about my cards because I know that there are quite a few that got paid, but I don't know if there's quite a few that I would pay. Right, and Chris Lindstrom is up there. Um,
Yeah, I think going forward, he's well. There's another guy.
there's a guy that's graded not that high, but I think he's very fucking good. Why is that? Sorry, go on.
Is it Zach Martin?
Oh, Zach Martin too, but also Wyatt Teller.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'd imagine great run blocking, pass blocking is kind of the book on him.
No, just I mean, man, then good, not great. Um,
Interesting. I mean, he is good. Um, I was watching a little clip from Brandon Thorne, who I consider kind of the authority on offensive
yep,
line play, and he ranked him as like his like sixth or seventh best guard still. So regardless of what PFF says, I'm gonna take Brandon Thorne's eyes a little. I mean, PFF is good at it, but I'm gonna take Brandon Thorne's eyes, like a
yep,
real good offensive line scout's eyes, more so.
yep. Yeah, I'm a little
Um,
bit shocked by that. I'm not gonna because there. I guess I'm now looking at it. There are a couple of guards that I would take. So I'm gonna hold off. Once you take Chris Lindstrom, it's really difficult. Like I see that PFF has like Kevin Dotson and Quinn. What's his name? The old tackle from I don't know how to say Murrance.
I don't know about old.
Not old.
Oh,
He's only a few
Quinn
years.
Miners.
I
Quinn
was gonna say
Miners.
Quinn Myers. Thank you, Quinn Myers. When I meant old NDSU tackle, was what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Um,
I thought you were getting at Quentin Nelson. Well, he's not old.
no, Quentin Nelson, he's fallen off a bit. Probably injuries. I don't know.
He
Um,
rose a little bit back up this past season.
he did. He did. You can give him that. The season before, though, right after getting paid too. Uh, yeah, I think right now I'm gonna hold off on those. I am contemplating. I really want to fill that tackle spot, that last tackle spot, but I also feel like, what's the point? I need to go with a linebacker or another safety and end this over here, or I'm thinking nickel corner. I don't know. There's a lot going on in my head, so I'm really trying to think of who I didn't. I haven't picked a nickel yet. I haven't decided on who I would want there. I don't know of many nickels that I would be happy with. Beyond one that you know who I really like, and that's probably because I just don't know a lot of nickel corners. Um, so use that how you will. I just trying to fill the air here, and I know I'm screwing
My
myself.
top nickel corner by a decent margin on my board, the 13th best player available. Value over the next best nickel corner is still on the board.
Oh, you know what? I know exactly who I would want at nickel. The issue is I think of them all as corners in my head, but I don't remember who actually is playing nickel. And actually, I might go there.
much like Derek Brown, a lot of this is theoretical. I assume this guy played at least 80% of his snaps at nickel last year, but I also have no doubt
Yep.
he could have handled
Is it
outside just
Brian
fine.
Branch? Because I'm going to be taking Brian Branch.
Is that your pick?
Yep.
I was not thinking of
Mm.
Brian Branch.
I think Brian Branch is a great, but he's not. I'm gonna go ahead and sure that up. I think Brian Branch is a fantastic player. He's not graded very well. I don't know. PFF corner grades are just fucking terrible. Don't. They're not terrible.
It's
They
strange.
are trying to.
I'd imagine he had his struggles in man coverage. If I had to guess, I didn't. Not that I watched that closely, but he's more of a like a game wrecker type guy. Like
Yep. And that's kind of
put
the
him in
reason
there.
why I wanted to take him is because you have a Kyle Hamilton and I want a Brian Branch.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my logic there. I think there might be other nickels that I probably could do better with, and say like if I wanted to really run a lot of like cover one, probably would be better to take instead. But Brian Branch is going back to what we had said about Kyle Hamilton. He's a guy that you put in, he can become a weapon for you. Uh, and he adds a lot in how you can use him as a chess piece, as say like a blitzer, or in the run game as with how he plays.
Yeah.
I love his style. So another guy that I don't know if I was very high on coming into the draft that has surprised me so far in his time in the league.
Branch, you were not high on?
Remember, dude, you would know better. You would remember my opinion on him more
I
than I
think
do.
I think you were fairly high. I watched the Bama played against Kansas State in their bowl game, and I was hyped to watch that game so I could do a little Will Anderson scouting because I wasn't sure what pick the Bears would have at that point, and Will Anderson was very much on the board for the Bears. Um, and man, I came away from that game thinking like Brian Branch is just hands down the best football player on this field.
I can't remember why, but I had him. I think I had him around consensus. But I can't remember what, and he was like what 20th, some further like late on back half of the first round, I believe. Um, but I was not excited about it for some reason going into it. I don't feel like I was, at least.
Well, I think we also got and I think we're filling up way too much airtime on an already long running podcast talking about Brian Branch. But I think the 40 time probably wasn't great. Probably turned some people off. But yeah, when the Lions took him, I was like, ah, fuck. I don't want the Lions to have this guy. That's a good pick. I think I think once you see who I took at nickel corner, you're gonna realize you fucked up a little bit.
Yeah. This is where I
Um,
wish I did any prep, because I think this is where it's going to be the nickel corner and my guards that are going to fuck me the most, because I don't think about those positions as much as I should when it comes to not doing prep. And linebacker obviously is already doing it.
yeah.
I hate
Shit,
you
I
for
had a
taking
guy.
Fred Warner, man. That was such a good damn pick so early.
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah.
That might be my favorite pick
I
in
didn't
terms
realize
of
how
all.
good of a pick it was at the time. I knew what I was doing, but now that I'm looking at the rest of these guys, I'm like, God damn, I'm so
It's
glad I had
so
him.
fucking good.
Um, I am going to do this is a blocker to you, and it might be my wild card pick, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I can move some guys around. I think it's well within the bounds of what we're allowed to do here. And I don't even know if this is the guy you're thinking of taking, but it's the guy that I would take, and it's going to be Max Crosby.
Not who I was thinking about taking, but I was between two. So yes, you got one of them. My issue with Max Crosby is I don't think he adds as much he adds more in the run game than the guy that I am going to take. He doesn't add as much as a pass rusher. He's still a very good pass rusher, don't get me wrong. He doesn't add as much in the pass rush. And I'm trying to decide how much, because I already know that Miles Garrett is going to go off in both, right? So I'm trying to decide if I care about just having another just deadly pass rusher or having another good run defender.
Well, I'm gonna warn you right now.
Mhm.
I can move Micah Parsons to Sam Backer. That's fair game. Do you agree that's fair game?
That's fair
He's
with me.
played it,
Yeah, and then you'd have double. I see what
and
you're
then I
doing
could
here.
I can go TJ Watt as my wild card. I'm
Well,
warning you right now.
I was gonna do it anyway. I was gonna pick him next
Okay.
just because I don't want to think about anything, and I just want to get this out the way before you do it as your wild card. Because I already knew what you were doing, and hence the reason why I moved him to inside linebacker. I'm like, you're an asshole because I know you still have that wild card. And the moment you take TJ Watt, I'm screwed. So I've already shifted your guys because why the hell would you not put Max Crosby out there and have him at Sam and Mac? Like you wouldn't do that. The next guy is gonna be the guy that's a wild card.
The other thing is, I'm gonna
Or
shift one of these guys inside on pass rush downs.
God damn, that's. I mean, I'm very happy with my interior.
Nick Bosa's rushing from the inside on pass rush downs,
Yep.
and I love it.
I'm very happy with my interior. I think Bosa definitely helps your pass rush. And Parsons. Like those two are, and don't get me wrong, Max Crosby's still fantastic. Like I don't know how the hell we're gonna block this. On the like I'm very happy I have George Kittle. Let me just say that. I am very happy I have George Kittle
You're gonna want to
because
keep his ass in line.
yep, he might not be going out for many routes, which is fine because I got Christian McCaffrey out the backfield to make up.
Story of his life.
Story is like he's literally drafted him to play the same position. Sorry, Kittle, I tried. Not obviously play the same, but play the same role. Thinking about this now. So wait, I just took TJ Watt, so it's on you. So, and on the
It
note of
is.
Watt versus Crosby, I should probably explain. On the note of Watt versus Crosby, uh, I'm not a big Watt fan because I don't like his especially after with the Myles Garrett shit. Pittsburgh Steelers fans just annoy me. I think that they might be one of the dumbest fan bases. No offense to any Steelers fan who somehow fucking found this. They're just very loud about shit. Like for instance, Najee Harris being a good pick in the first round when you need offensive line super bad. So I think that's why. So it's I think I'm under ranking TJ Watt and putting him in the same tier as Max Crosby. But I think he is that first tier of guy still, but he's that end of the first tier guys.
Yeah. Some man, I think the guy that I'm thinking about. This is tough. I'm thinking of taking a linebacker to round out that corpse right now. All the best linebackers who are in the conversation are old. It's Demario Davis, it's Levante David, and
Vontae
I don't
Davis
know how
is
much more they have left.
Here's the thing with linebackers, they aren't. So if you're a great linebacker, you're gonna fall from that tier when you age, like a Bobby Wagner. But then you just become a good linebacker. Like Bobby Wagner is still a good linebacker. He just
Yeah,
isn't Bobby Wagner money good, right?
but I would say Bobby Wagner is also in the same. Could be said in the same sense. They're all about the same age.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and that's no disrespect to Roquan Smith, but it seems pretty clear that both of us are running kind of 4-3-ish style defenses.
And
Basically Seahawksy style defenses is what we're both kind of getting at.
I know that I was early on the Roquan Smith can't handle blockers, right? He has an issue shedding blocks, which is why he's not great for a one gapping run defense.
Famously screamed at a guy at Kincaid's one time.
He had fun, dude. That was a great conversation. He's like, oh
It
no,
was a conversation. You weren't
yeah.
screaming it. You were screaming it, but you were doing it out of love.
But it's not like it's a take that's only mine because I've heard like Nate Tice and Robert Mays talk about it ever since. I think I don't remember if I screen capped it and sent it to you to be like, I'm not crazy. Other people see it too. And these are like I remember I forgot who Tice was talking about. I think it was Klassen it was somebody else who's also very Roquan pilled and love them. But they're like, he just can't. That's the one thing he's not good at. And at 4-3, I'm
Yeah.
just not taking him. And it sucks because he is the second best linebacker in the league, but he is very scheme dependent. He needs people to keep linemen off of him. He needs two gappers that will hold their blocks and hold their position so he can move freely. It's those short arms, man. He can't get that leverage on the guys. I don't know what else it could be.
I'm just I want to take a certain guy at linebacker, but I'm concerned about his run defense, and I wonder if I already have enough pass defense that I don't need to worry too much about some slight limitations, because I think this is a guy that you're going to want. Yeah, we're going to do this partially to block you. You might not have him in mind, but I think once I pick him, you'll say that you should have had him in mind. I'm going to take Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa.
Or a more fuck me. I need to look up this one. Yeah, it's a great pick. JOK is so good.
I just a badass coverage linebacker. So, I mean, take your second best tight end by all means. You got Fred Warner, Jeremiah Okosa Koromoa, and take the other tight end. I mean, you got Warner, JOK, and Hamilton to deal with. So I'm happy with that. I worry a little bit about how he fits my run defense, but
That would be my one question for him. But
we'll keep it clean for him up front.
that's a fantastic pick. I love JOK. I am a little mad because I didn't even think about him. Uh he's a guy that I've liked since his rookie year. I think I liked him coming out too. He showed up. Like he came to the NFL, showed up, and
I love Giant.
that is rare for a linebacker to be able to do. Linebackers usually take a bit to develop and take a few years before you really see them show up. It is such a game. It's a position in which you need to be able to, like, they don't coach it well in college is the issue. They just have them go a lot of times, right? They're not taught to read their keys and understand what they're supposed to do during certain positions and during certain situations, and personnel groupings, etc. Um,
So
let's see here.
I'm sticking him at Mike. He's not a Mike per se, but who cares? I'm
Yeah,
sticking
I
him there.
mean, honestly, you could flip them and then have them flip in coverage, etc. If you wanted to, it doesn't really matter. It really just depends on who you feel like is going to do better on the run defense. I was a Will who was playing the hole in a Tampa 2. The Mike plays the hole. They had me do it because I was better at scraping over and the run defense, and my drops were better. But the guy that was playing next to was a much bigger, could take on could take on lead blockers, etc. And was great at like other things.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So we might throw Fred at Mike. So
Yeah.
that's what we might do.
I am trying to decide. There's a lot of free safeties I'm realizing that I would be willing to go with, but I don't. There's a lot of safeties. I'm double checking certain people because again, this is where I go back and say, do I actually remember what exactly they play? I just know them as safeties, right? Um, so give me 1 second as I do
Yeah.
this. Just
More often than not, there's really not a huge delineation.
yeah, I know, and like there's a lot of people who are versatile and play both.
Yeah.
It's more so trying to decide. I don't want to screw myself by taking like say Jesse Bates, who would be a little redundant there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jesse, of the top guys, and I think Jesse's worth a pick from one of us, but probably not you because yeah, I think he's a pure free safety.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
the thing is, like, again, I think Winfield could probably handle strong safety. It's probably not ideal, but
yeah, right now I'm trying to think between like him and Javon Holland, and then I'm making sure that there isn't some dude just like, oh no, actually, you know what? I want to take Minka Fitzpatrick. I think again,
yeah,
yeah, this is again why.
I'm gonna advise you to lock that in.
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick is my pick. My fault. This is why I wish I did because again, that's why I'm trying to scan through these names. I wish I made my list.
Yeah,
Because it's going to be sorted by grade, but I also know that there's going to be times where people are graded that Minka Fitzpatrick is right now the 21st graded safety. As I saw that name, I'm like, fuck you. Like no, that's not right.
another game
Minka
wrecker,
Fitzpatrick,
another guy I trust in any
and
traditional safety role
yep,
doesn't matter. I had him now that neither of us are going to be taking. Well, I'm the only one who's going to take any safety, and it's just going to be Jesse Bates. But I had him tied with Derwin James as my strong
yep.
safety too.
That would be another one that I would consider, and again, not graded highly. Because I was thinking Derwin James didn't have a great year last year, if I remember correctly. Which
No,
is probably why. But he's been fantastic up until that year. Saw a
and
little bit of.
injuries
Mm,
always a pretty big concern with him.
yep. Yes. I think he's been injured. I think PFF has a joke because I listen to the podcast. They have a joke that they can't say his name because they think that they're every time they say his name he gets injured. So it's a superstition in there.
I'm going to All right, so now I know that I really need beef inside. I don't like my linebackers. I need why? I mean, I love my linebackers, but I don't
But
love
Fred
our
Warner's
ability
going
to
to give
defend
you
the
a
run.
good. No, Fred Warner's going to give you a run defense. That's not what I would worry about. JOK will give you some. It's not
But
like
I'm
he's
gonna,
bad.
I'm gonna reach on a guy here anyway, a little bit, not too much, but I want I want this guy playing one tech and base. I am going to go with Vita Vea.
Good pick. I mean, he also gives you the. Gotta look these
Oh, he's got
players up.
juice.
Yeah, he's got juice in the pass rush too, dude. Like, might have lost a
This
little bit of.
is this is the best version of the you know this is the 2024 version of Keith Traylor and Ted Washington, circa 2000. You don't see just two massive beefy boys.
Vita Vea is a very good pick. I'm a little sad because now that I think about it, Dexter Lawrence was that is a pick that I'm very happy with, but I still think your Fred Warner pick, for instance, hurt me more than my Dexter Lawrence pick probably hurt you. So
Yeah, DI's deep, but I mean Dexter is just I
it's
mean
a
he's
pass
a
rush he
wrecker.
gives you.
He's a wrecker on a different level
Yeah.
than these guys.
Um. All right. Do I? So I that line, my linebackers right now or lack thereof is giving me some like heart palpitations. And I'm trying to decide on how I want to handle that and if I want to handle
Well,
that, or if
you
I just
know
want
I'm
to say
done with
screw
it.
it. Yeah, it's true. Is there another guy that's the thing that was like I'm trying to think, is there somebody who's actually worth a damn that you could block me with? Uh Probably not, because there's quite a few old people I could just take instead. So I need to just ignore that giant massive gap of people. And I'm gonna do myself a favor here. And I'm just gonna take Panay Sewell. I'm gonna lock that up real quick. I wanted to see if I could think of another tight end that can give me some juice in the pass game while being a run blocker, but there just isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
just isn't.
Yeah, I wasn't at a point where I necessarily wanted to like block you with a guy who's not going to start like not going to get on the field yet, but like
Mhm.
Sewell would have been the one. Sewell was the one I wanted to keep you away from for sure.
Yeah,
But
I knew
I
I knew
wasn't.
it would take a bit.
I was like two picks away from that.
Yeah, I knew it would take a bit. Now I feel like I was risking it. I want Tool there. I mean, he gives you so much in both phases. And right now, I have two tackles that even if Trent Williams regresses a little bit in the pass blocking game, I still think the run blocking game will age really well because it's just a lot of power. I got two tackles that can absolutely maul ass.
Yeah. So, huh? So my guys are going to be slanging it. We are a pass first team with really no ability to run. Or, I mean, relatively compared to your team. Um, so I'm between a couple of left guards here, and I'm going to go with the younger guy with the ability to probably play a pretty good left tackle and right tackle if I need him to, and that's going to be Tyler Smith.
A bad pick. You're really
I
thinking a lot
think
more about versatility than I am. Uh,
because I mean, it's not a part of the game that these guys are necessarily going to get injured, but
that's fair.
in my
No,
world where we have a bunch of like 60s inside, like, okay, let's say one of them does get injured. Well, then I can kick Tyler Smith outside the left tackle, and I probably get hurt a little less with my left guard being, some 6-year overall Madden scrub.
yep.
So that's where my head's at.
Uh, I think I'm going to round out my guards. And it's hard because so like for instance, I would go Glasgow for instance, but he's like 32. I don't want to get too old on the offensive line. Um, I didn't watch Cosme. Cosme's graded well as a guard. I didn't realize that they kicked him in from tackle over to guard.
They
Um,
did, yeah.
Quinn Miners again. I'm also trying to figure out like I know I'm good enough on the pass blocking with the three guys that I've got, and there aren't a lot of guards that pass block really well. And I know I should be looking at trying to just kick your ass. You know what, Landon Dickerson? Hold on,
That's nice.
I'm thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
Because okay, so here's the thing. I'm looking at, and this is where again I wish I had thought this through earlier and had my list. Because again, I'm looking at grades. I'm looking at the PFF grade sorted here to get the list of names, and again, I know that they're good at grading linemen, so I should probably actually consider using them. But I look at like so for instance, Zach Morton's 19, Joel Petonio or 18, Joel Petonio is 19, Landon Dickerson is 17. They're all below Sam Cosmi. I wouldn't think that, right? In my head, if that makes sense.
That seems a little noisy. I don't. It was his first year inside. I like Cosme a lot as a prospect, as a tackle, and I still think he's probably a good tackle, and it stands to reason he could play guard, I guess. But it seems a little noisy that he's graded that highly.
That's what I'm worried about. But it's also just interesting. So like so like Kevin Dotson, for instance, is up there because of all of his pass block or his run blocking. I don't know if I know as much about Kevin Dotson, for instance. So I'm like worried. This is where I really wish I did a little bit of prep and I knew it was gonna screw me here the most.
Yeah,
Um
Dotson was pretty good in Pittsburgh, but eventually fell out of favor, and then kind of got a second life in the kind of the wide zoney McVay scheme, where he could use that mobility a little more than in Pittsburgh.
so yeah, I'm gonna go Landon Dickerson. Because I know is Dickerson play left or right? I know for a fact that Landon Dickerson is a solid guard, no matter what. And Eagles' offensive line is fantastic.
I don't know
And
offhand which one. I'm gonna say I think he plays left, but I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna toss him in there. Then.
Dickerson, I have as left guard 4, so he's a left guard.
Love that I played off ball inside linebacker, and actually technically anyway, I love that I played off ball inside linebacker in high school, and I haven't drafted a single one yet. I hate
I mean,
myself.
your high standard is what's keeping you from doing what a lot of people would do and just say, "Fuck it, I'm taking Rokon."
I might, to be fair, like I'm contemplating it because I can always just throw two other guys in there that can, you know, play the run better.
Yeah,
But I knew you wouldn't steal him anyway, so I'm like, fuck it, maybe you will now. And I don't know if I'll care if you do. So
I don't care enough about linebacker. I'm 90% sure what the position that I'm taking with my wild card.
mhm.
So I'm not worried about that.
I also know which one I am, and I think it'll shock you.
Ooh, I'm between two guys. Um, we're slanging it. I'm going to say this guy is not the second best at his position in this draft, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I want Taylor to come to my games.
All right, fair. He's got to be in this though. Like I can't imagine if when I post this, if I post this on Twitter, if Travis Kelsey is not on this board, people are gonna fucking shit a brick.
I
Um,
mean, he's tight end 3 for me.
yeah,
He's tight end 2 for me in real life, and it's close with Kittle with all the Kittle defending we gave. It's neck and neck. Um, it's just that he's not the tight end 1 that the undisputed tight end 1 that everybody thinks he is. But
he's a
I'm
he's a
3
he's
just
a,
because he by year 3, I don't think I'm gonna get a whole lot out of him, but
yep.
he's my
Who
he'll
was
be
your
my
two?
second tight end at that
Oh
point.
wait, no, we still got tight ends to draft, so don't tell me.
I'm not
Um,
telling you that.
what was I gonna say though? The thing with they're both Hall of Famers. Like when we're anyone listening to this, if you're thinking that we're like saying Kittle sucks, no, absolutely not. He's one of the best tight ends that has ever played. It's just I agree. It's a noise, and a lot of it's just because hey, who's making the flashy plays versus who's being gritty and
I
being
think
asked to play a different
on
role.
resume alone, longevity, I will actually go to bat for Kelsey over Kittle. Like I
Oh yeah,
still think that Kelsey is the second best tight end of all time
mhm.
behind Rob Gronkowski. Um,
I would agree with that.
but
Resume
but
wise, yes.
but even just like I guess just longevity. Like he's been doing it for longer and better. I just think Kittle's better right now and has been better for the last like 4 or 5 years
Yep.
quietly.
Yep. Kittle's also much younger, so who knows how long he'll do it for. But he's been doing
Right.
it at a high level from almost a jump.
Right.
Um,
Zero shade on Kelsey. I think he's absolutely the second best tight end of all time
yep.
behind Gronk.
Yep. It's just a 3-year thing that makes this a little bit harder. Uh, huh. I want to lock in my last guard. Um,
Also, I wanted to block you because I really don't want Mahomes throwing. The Mahomes Kelsey thing would have actually moved the needle for me, and I can't have that.
I wasn't going to take Kelsey, but
I
that's
just
I contemplated it. I
I'm
did,
glad.
but your edge setup really scares the shit out of me with the two guys you got, right? And so I feel like I need to have a little bit of block in beyond just like I should be fine. I really should. I've got two phenomenal tackles and George Kittle, but oh, what if I took an extra lineman and went fucking six guys on the line, had an extra tackle out there? We'll think about it. Ugh. On that note, though, I'm gonna finish up with my guards. I just took Landon Dickerson. And now I'm trying to think if I want. I'm looking at ages real quick to make sure I don't get too old. Uh, and yeah, Zach Martin. Like you mentioned him earlier. I think Zach Martin is um one of the best guards. He doesn't give me as much on the run blocking as the other guys do, but I have so much of that now that
I honestly think that the 2023 grades you're looking at are again pretty noisy. I think
yep,
Zach Martin is right now the best guard in the NFL. I don't have a single issue with this.
yep. And I think that again it goes back to the issue. It's like I know these guys well. I know who's good, right? Splitting hairs here between some of the top guards, which is what makes it hard. And then you have this noise in front of me of the grades, and I'm like, I'm second guessing what I want to do. Because me walking out with Zach Martin and Landon Dickerson is probably like the most ideal thing I feel like I could have had. Oh, Chris Lindstrom first, but after you took him.
Lidstrom just because the age and he's similar enough. He's maybe the second or third best guard in the NFL.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think he's right there right now with Martin. I know Thorne, I think said Martin had Martin number one, and he had Quentin Nelson number two, which I'm like, all right, not sure I can get all the way back there with Quentin Nelson, but
Should have
yeah,
taken some time to read some Brandon Thorne stuff. And
it was a
Trench Warfare.
it was a 30-second Twitter clip with the I forget the guy's name, that the other guru who actually works with the players. I forget his name.
Oh, shoot the coach. The offensive line coach off on the side that everybody hires. I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I forget, but he was going
Oh,
through it, and then the guy was like, "Yeah, I have the same list. I just maybe flipped Dickerson and Miners at 8 and 9." I'm like, "You have the same exact list? Jesus!"
that's awesome.
All
Um,
right, my next pick. There's like two spots where I feel like you could reasonably block me at all, but the only one where you still have a spot available is tight end. So I'm just going to take Sam Laporta, my actual tight end too.
ah,
Sorry.
I like that pick. So when I was looking at them, I contemplated Sam Laporta, and this is where I'm like, I want a little bit more blocking, right? But he's so young that he's going to become a better blocker. It was his rookie
Yeah.
season. He's phenomenal. I like that pick a lot. Um, Probably would have been my next tight end. So good call on grabbing him. I just because I feel so confident with what I've got, I was like, hey, hold off. No, fuck, I just got screwed. Uh cool. I'm gonna continue to ignore my linebackers and I'm gonna think about because I don't think you're gonna take a linebacker to block me. Unless you do and screw me. I'm gonna think about what you have currently filled. And
Can
you know
I
what?
can I can I really quickly because
Mhm.
I'm realizing that I believe you released these in audio form, or we should if we don't.
I
Um,
haven't recently, but go on.
The open spots for Adam right now are tight end 2, all 3 linebacker positions, and wild card. On my board right now, I have wild card position open, safety, corner, and center, and running back. I believe that's true, unless I forgot to write somebody down. But I believe I think that's the layout.
I'm not looking.
We've each got 5. We've each got 5
Um,
left. So go ahead. Sorry.
So I am currently wanting to look at some things really quickly. Um, I'm trying to figure out who you're thinking of at nickel because I would love to run some dime, right? Like a little dime coverage, maybe throw out another linebacker,
I'll tell
take.
you because I feel a little bad that you didn't have time to do your research, and I don't. It would be fine if I lost this guy,
All right, who you're thinking of?
Devin Witherspoon.
Nickel?
Yeah, I think he played like he was mostly a nickelbacker last year,
Was
or
he?
nickel corner last year.
I don't think I realized that. I mean, he's a phenomenal run defender. I love Devin Witherspoon. I already mentioned that. Ah, shit. Crap. Now that you told me now, I don't want to take him. I feel bad taking him, so I'm not going to. Devin Witherspoon's a good pick. Um, he would have been one of my if I didn't have corners filled out and didn't take Brian Branch. I was between him and Brian Branch, but I don't think I realized he played mostly nickel because I see him as an outside corner. But he's such a good run defender, and he's so I just love. He plays with such a reckless abandon, but so does Brian Branch. It's one of those things where I feel like they're both very similar in their in how they play the game, not exactly play style, right?
They're
They
similar.
just play
What sets them
fast.
apart is that Devin is capable of playing a much more valuable position
Yep.
should the need arise.
Yes. I didn't realize he played inside though. And had I realized that, probably would have taken him. It was shocking. I feel I've watched a ton of Seattle. I don't think I just paid attention to where he was because I watched a lot of Geno, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I still have to pick. Sorry. So what? I've got my linebackers then and my thing to block and my tight end. Um, this is where I honestly, I'm sorry. This is where I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, how much do I care? So I'm just gonna
Slightly
pick
more
somebody.
slot corner than wide corner for Devin last year.
Okay, did not realize that shit. Um, so I'm gonna say screw it. Actually, you know what? Hold on real quick. Damn. This is terrible podcasting. This is terrible content right now. Sorry, I'm just trying to think through. I want to take my next tight end, but because I just don't care about linebacker. I actually think it'll be funny if I take my linebackers last at this point.
I mean, I'm not taking linebackers. You should take your
Yeah.
linebackers last.
So I'm trying to think through who I wanted tight end because at this point
But I'm
it's
also
really
not
like
taking a tight end, so I gotta say, you should take your wild card.
who would you go after? Shit.
I'm
Um
not answering that, but
This is, if I had my stuff prepped, I would have sat here and already known what positions are light that I'd be able to filter by position and know which ones you still have open that are light. There are a good bit of three techs you can take. Free safety wise, you already mentioned you want to take Jesse Bates. I'm not going to be an asshole and say that and take somebody you said you were going to take. I'm going to be fair.
stop. Don't not
No,
be an
I want to be
asshole.
fair. I think it's a dick move if I take somebody you would have taken. Um,
It's the draft. I'm telling you. I told you the guy because I didn't care whether you take him.
True. That's true.
I mean, I care a
Uh,
little bit. I'd like to get the guy, but if I was that concerned, I wouldn't have told you.
that's true. Who have you
I
talked
tell you,
about?
there's one guy that you could take that would really mess with me, and I'm not going to tell you who that is. I haven't told you him yet because I do care if you take him. But let's also
Who
keep in
the
mind.
fuck?
Let's also keep in mind another big part of these wild cards is not necessarily to screw over the other person. It is
Yeah, I know.
even
I'm
if they
thinking about
don't get
taking a.
injured, you want to rotate guys in. You want a guy to do this that can't do this. Like, I don't know, maybe take Derrick Henry because I mean, that's a terrible
I was saying
example, but like,
I was going to
hey,
take a running back.
maybe take Justin Herbert in case Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. Like, there's a lot of things you could do here.
I was going to take a running back initially, which is why I've held off on the wild card. Because I'm not taking Bijan. Mostly because you mentioned you were taking Bijan earlier, and I thought it's
Stop.
a great pick.
I
No, shut up.
If
If
you don't take a guy just because I said it, knowing full well the possibilities that you have the ability to block me, it'll make me angrier than if you do it.
I
I
kind of
want you to
want,
take
but
who you want you
I'm
to
also
take.
I'm also well, no, because the only reason I want to take him is because you said it. That's the issue. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to get that mindset out. I'm trying to figure out, is there somebody better that I could take? Should I take Devon A-Chain, for instance? That's something that I'm thinking about. Do I want that explosiveness there, especially with my run blocking offensive line? The other thing that I'm thinking about is like, okay, maybe not Devon. Do I want somebody who's more down to down, since now I have two explosive running backs, right? Instead, I don't know if I would touch Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry because they're starting to hit that age clip too. I don't want two old running backs. I want a young running back.
That would be
But
redundant.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what my head is going through. And you mentioned, so like Bijan Robinson's pretty well rounded, but I feel like I could do something else instead. And I want to see it. And I know he was very good when he got opportunities. And a lot of his issues production wise was just literally why am I blanking on the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, the old head coach for Atlanta? Fuck you,
Matt, God, he's so unmemorable. Matt
he's such a
Canada.
no, not Matt Canada, the current offensive coordinator for the Steelers, the old head coach for the Falcons.
Oh, Arthur Smith. My bad.
Arthur
Yep.
Smith, yeah. Um, fuck you, Arthur Smith, because you didn't use him right. So I know he's gonna be great, but also I just want to see it. I want to see him with more production. Uh, so yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna go Devon Achane. I want to be explosive as hell. Um,
Wow.
I have I've got Patty Mahomes. So here's my issues. I don't have a very explosive set of wide receivers. AJ Brown being a very good vertical threat, but not. I don't have a Tyreek Hill, right? I want some fucking speed. Like
Yeah,
I
I think my
want,
slowest guy, is would be your fastest guy, basically.
yeah. So I want some speed. I need some speed. We're gonna go Devon A Chain. We're gonna think about throwing him in the slot sometimes. Um,
I dig it.
yep.
Yeah, and I gotta say again, I'm far more afraid of your running game, especially because you correctly picked Zach Martin, which I honestly did not know whether I thought you were not going to do that because you didn't mention his name until you actually picked him.
No, I said it the first time I was looking
I
at
did.
guards. Did you? Oh,
Oh,
you
did
did.
it?
I can't
I
remember who
thought I
said it.
yeah,
One of
I
us said
thought
it.
I did.
I
But I was
didn't
like,
remember.
I feel safe that he's not going to pick Martin, which like adds to the run game. But like, yeah, you filled out the run. I feel like the way that you're going to beat me is by running the ball.
Just sad with Patrick Mahomes, but
Well, I mean, but that's kind of the
that's what they're doing now.
what the Chiefs do. Like
Yep.
they run and they're not as explosive, but when they need to, Patrick Mahomes is going to deliver. And it's like,
Yep.
well, is he going to deliver against me? And meanwhile, you're running the ball with McCaffrey and H. Like it's not crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think if I can fucking Sam Laporta. God damn it, Kelsey. I don't have linebackers. Fuck. I should have done another corner instead. Screw it. No, I'm happy with that. Because here's
All
the
right.
issue: is now I'm looking at your five guys that could be going out for a pass, and I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
All right. So at this point, we can't block each other from anything. I don't think,
Mm.
unless you wanted to move Brian Branch down to safety, in which case I don't think you want to do that. But since that's the only possibility of things you block me with, I'm going to take Jesse Bates right now. Jesse Bates has been good his entire career. Has not always graded outstandingly. Usually does, but last year was his best year, and I think it was his fifth year in the league, sixth maybe.
I'm not 100% sure. He's 20. He's gonna be 28 this year. So this is his
Fifth or sixth year, whatever it is. Yeah, just a classic good deep middle safety, and that's what I need. I don't necessarily want Kyle Hamilton spending too much time in the
It's gonna be seventh year.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Oh yeah, he was an early declare. Yeah, I don't necessarily want Kyle Hamilton to have to do too much.
Kyle Hamilton in
I'm
the box.
blanking.
You
Yeah, I
want
want
him
him
in
in
the
the box.
box. You don't want him. You don't want him covering the back half of the field. Or
I'm clearly doing a little bit of a Seahawksy 49ers Pete Carroll
yeah.
style defense here. So I want my deep middle man. I think that's
So you're going to be
Bates. I
playing a
don't
lot of
over the next
middle field close.
over the next 3 years. I'm a little iffy, but we're probably fine.
You know what we haven't talked about? How versatile our coverage units are. And I will say, with Winfield, Minka, Sertan, Jalen Johnson, maybe not as much Brian Branch in coverage. Um, those four at least I think are very versatile as cover guys. Uh, Obviously
We'll
Sauce
get
Gardner
there.
could do whatever the hell you want. Same with I think Trent McDuffie is probably better as a press corner. So you're gonna want to play more cover one, potentially cover three, depending on how you want to
That's
play those rules.
that's the plan. I didn't come in
I
with that plan, but that's what I was hoping that would be what
yeah,
I would be doing.
I mean, I would rather be more versatile, in coverage specifically to confuse quarterbacks, right? But if you got the guys and you can run that defense, you got the guys. And shit, just go out there. The one thing though is once you get into the playoffs, that's where those teams start to hurt. Once you start playing better quarterbacks, you're like, I know what you're gonna do, so I don't care. Um, we'll see. I mean, we should build these teams out on Madden
Well,
and
we're
see.
gonna pass rush the shit out of them. So,
Yeah, sure.
we'll see.
Cool. So it's on me, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my last tight end, and you picking Laporta sucks ass. And so now I'm trying to think of who my next tight end would be because it's probably Mark Andrews, right? I probably have
From
to
a
go Mark
receiving
Andrews.
standpoint, probably.
Yeah. Part of me is like, do I want to take Dalton Kincaid? There's another part of me that wants to take Dallas Goddard. Like Dallas Goddard's probably one of the more well-rounded ones. I'm just not gaining as much as a receiver, but I'm gaining enough. Um,
Of all the good receiving tight ends, I honestly would have thought to the naked eye that TJ Hawkinson was the best blocker, but it sounds like his grade was not very good. So, like amongst like the
it's
top 10 tight ends
oh,
in the league, I don't
mean,
know who the second best blocker is.
well, hold on. You're talking about the receiving tight ends. He might be
The
of
ones
the
who are
receiving tight
generally
ends.
acknowledged as the
Yeah.
top 10 because of their receiving work
No,
mostly.
he
It's like,
might
is
be.
it?
They're all in the 50s. That's the thing. And
Yeah.
except for Kelsey, who's like a 46.9. Um, so Andrew's a 58.8. TJ Hawkinson's a 56.1. At that point, I'd rather take Mark Andrews. You know what I mean? I would think so
Yeah.
too. I haven't adjusted Mark Andrews into my top five tight ends. He might deserve to go up there. Depends on how you feel about some of the younger guys too. Whereas like Andrews to me is like the third, fourth best tight end if he's healthy. That's the other thing too. Is like you've got a lot of health concerns with Mark Andrews. He probably gets injured every single season, and
Yeah.
that's a little bit of hesitation. But if he gets hurt, how much do I care about being in um, 12 personnel? Right. I already have a good enough like set of running. I almost would rather be in 20 personnel than 12, right? And have both my running backs out there. It just sucks because you also
True.
have an extra pass. You have two edge defenders on one side. So I'll probably be forced. Oh no, 12 personnel. I'd be fine. Um, Kick out one of my wide receivers. Or no, sorry,
Andrews
21.
Andrews also had pretty good run block grade actually in 2022. I'm looking at.
Yeah, and that's I had a feeling. I mean, he was injured for a good bit. So I'm gonna go Mark Andrews. He would be my next. I mean, of in this drill, in this exercise, if Kittle and Kelsey were gone, right, and Laporta, Andrews is my next guy. I'm just overthinking shit. Andrews would probably be my second guy after Kittle, just because of age and me not being ready to just say Laporta take it. Hey, he was my tight end in both of my fantasy teams last year. I love Mark Andrews. So
Good
the
play.
injury concern is just the one thing.
A big draft scouting win for me when they took Andrews because
Yeah.
when they took Hayden Hurst with the 25th pick of that draft and then took Lamar with the 32nd. And I thought to myself, why didn't they just take Mark Andrews? And they took him in the third round.
Sweet.
Uh, I'm going to take the only other center worth taking in this draft, in my opinion. I think number 3 is probably Tyler Linderbaum. And then number 4, honestly, I think you could make a case for like just kicking Landon Dickerson inside. Number 2 is Creed Humphrey.
That's okay. I was gonna say if Creed
He's got
Humphrey
some
isn't,
snapping issues, apparently. I didn't watch enough to really appreciate that, but some Chiefs fans are a little pissed off by the snapping. But I mean, he's an absolute mauler. I think if he did not have snapping issues, I would prefer him over Ragnow. But as is, I did have him second, slightly behind Ragnow.
he was also my second. He was also my second center. I wasn't sure where you were going, so I was gonna say 4 isn't Creed Humphrey and someone else because I didn't know if you had him that high. So I didn't know where you're going. So I was like, no, Creed Humphrey's at least 4. Then you said him too. I'm like, okay, good, we're good.
Can I say what I think you probably should have done
What?
after you took Ragnow? And I told you that I think there's only 2 centers. I think you should have just taken Humphrey and put him at guard.
That's good. I didn't think
Yeah.
it was center. Like so I when you had said there were guys you didn't talk about, I'm like, you haven't talked about a DI, but you've said that there are multiple guys, and you haven't talked about a center. I didn't think it was a center because I do think there are at least like 1 or 2 other guys you could put there that would be fine. And again, once you start dropping there, I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I didn't know you had Creed Humphrey then. So again, you can go Linderbaum, right? You can also go like hell. Jason Kelsey retired. What am I thinking of? There's one other guy that I like. Anyway, you can go a couple different places, and I also know you come up with center names so often for the Bears, like the mid tier guys, right? And I'm
I
like,
got my
does he?
guys.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know where the hell he's going there. So I didn't
Whatever
believe
happened
it.
to whatever happened to that Connor McGovern? But yeah, no, I mean Creed is clearly
I don't know.
Creed and Ragnow are clearly in a class of their own as
Yeah,
far as centers go.
I do think Linderbaum is up there though. I is going to be up there, I should say.
Could be.
He's done well. Creed came out the gate just absolute stud. That's a draft win for me. I loved Creed Humphrey coming into that draft. Let's see here. All right, so I just got to round out my linebackers. Oh, all right. So we're just gonna go ahead and take because you didn't take him, and I'm not dealing with posting this photo and having people yell at me for not taking Roquan. No one's gonna yell. No one's gonna care. Slash the other thing too is he's still a very good coverage guy, and you have so much fucking speed, or like not speed, I shouldn't say, because Travis Kelsey, I don't know. You were just so good at your tight ends that I'm scared. So we're gonna take Roquan. We're gonna hope that he can cover some guys. He's great in man coverage. He's not so great in zone, and I don't know how much zone I'm gonna run. It'll get sprinkled in there. But we can at least I know we can run man for man with you.
Take some guys that can shed, and I think you can. I don't think you pass up on Roquan's talent
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah, exactly. Uh so yeah.
We've said enough about Roquan in the past, so I'm going to move right on to. I'm going to go Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon, my nickel corner. And him and McDuffie a little bit interchangeable. I had them as nickel 1 and 2.
I mean, you could flip them. Yeah, that gives you a lot of versatility there. I think they can both play either positions. Uh, we've already talked a bit about Devin Witherspoon. I love him. He is just fun to watch. I am trying to decide who my next best linebacker would be. There are some guys that I can make a case for that are older, but I don't know if I want to go that old. So I'm also looking at like Quincy Williams, TJ Edwards, and Bobby Okereke. I think this is weird because I wouldn't put them at the top of anything, right? But they're also at the top of like this is where the linebackers get.
I wouldn't put on top of anything, but I think you named some really good linebackers.
Yeah. Had I not taken Roquan, those would probably be the 3 that I filled the rest of this with. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anyone else because again, I didn't make the list, and I'm again using PFF, which sucks at grading linebackers. So I need to quickly scan through and make sure that I am not missing an obvious name, which I don't think I am. There just aren't. I feel like you know somebody.
I don't. Do me a favor really quick.
Shoot.
You keep scanning. I'm going to be back in 30 seconds because I got to go pee pee.
Go do it. You do the PP. Um, so for anyone listening, I know I mentioned TJ Edwards and not if you're a Bears fan and not Tremaine Edmonds. So I'm going to go ahead and explain that TJ Edwards, I think, is a much better linebacker than Tremaine Edmonds. He's a better run supporter, an awesome run supporter. At linebacker, really great like for instance, I mentioned Roquan Smith isn't great at scraping and shedding blocks. Uh, TJ Edwards fills that role so damn well. It's perfect for like a will linebacker, and in like a 4-3 Tampa 2 with a an underfront. Um, so he would fit this really well, and so I already know what he looks like in this defense, and I think I'm going to take him. But I also think Bobby Okereke is a fantastic linebacker too. Trying to split hairs there. I'm worried about taking the wrong one. Um, and on top of that, uh, who else is there? I also mentioned Quincy Williams, which I think the general public would probably have up there as a better linebacker than the two I've mentioned. Um,
So I got to say,
making Mhm.
it
Have you
was
already listened?
really fun to be able to hear you while I was on the potty. Um, First of all, you're allowed to take both Okereke and
Well, I'm trying to. I know,
TJ.
but I'm also just debating
Um,
Quincy Williams. It's who am I leaving out?
if you're, I think you said you're thinking about being a little Tampa 2 in which
Well,
case
not Tampa 2 coverage. I was bringing that up because
Styley,
well, bring up
I
one
guess maybe.
gapping defenses, and people I
Yeah.
know that like Bears fans will think Tampa 2 defense, but it's any 4-3 under front one gapping defense. That typically the philosophy though for the how Tampa 2 does their run fits is what I'm talking about, but it doesn't have to be a Tampa 2 coverage, right? Tampa 2 does run a ton of cover one, so I might be, to be honest with you. I very well could be a Tampa 2 defense that runs a shit ton of cover one and cover three because that's what
Well,
they do.
we can hire uh you know, when we hire our coaches, we can you could take a
All right,
guy who
defense.
fits.
Yeah, I'm taking defensive minded head coach. We'll see.
Well, let's take a friggin', we can if we have a play caller as our offensive coordinator, we can specify our defensive coordinator if we want.
All right, let's go. So yeah, I who am I leaving out? Yeah, I'm not.
And also, just because it sounds like you're about to make a pick, but I'm just going to say this: I don't have them as my top two linebackers on the board, but I would say right now for 2024, it would be Okereke and Edwards. I'll just say that.
I was about to write Quincy Williams specifically for the coverage.
I guess against my guys, sure, but like, man, TJ Edwards, you were showing him love, but like, Jesus, man, he's the closest to Lance Briggs I've seen, certainly in a Bears uniform since Lance Briggs.
Yeah, hold on, I'm trying to think real
He's
quick.
he,
I'm gonna.
he's and I was aware that he was great before that. I was so psyched when we signed him, and then it brought my mood down that we followed that up with, instead of doing the obvious thing and signing David Long to the, I believe, 2-year, $10 million contract that he got.
Mhm.
We want the 5 years, $72 million contract, something like that, to Tremaine Edmonds. It's a bummer, man. And I think Long was better than Edmonds last year. But
Yeah,
like,
I understand. I told you this. I hate the contract. The contract's terrible. I understand why they got Edmonds because you want that linky big Mike take fucking up.
it was the idea,
Yeah,
and he had just come off a very productive season, and he
yes, the
is.
one productive season he had.
But would it shock you if he was like awesome this year?
He could be.
I
I
don't think it would
mean,
shock you.
no, he's already shown it. I
I'm
just
not gonna bank on it, but like, yeah, he's got all the traits. Like another year,
in this
he's like a
defense.
deep middle type guy. Like, yeah, I could totally see it traits
I
wise,
think
but
he's
yeah,
missing
give
the
me the production of Okereke
yeah,
or David Long.
yeah.
Like I said it
I
at the
think he's
time.
missing the processing, honestly, on the Tremaine Edmonds side of things. And you know how much I pay attention to how smart my linebacker is. What are they seeing? Where are their eyes? How are they handling it? Are they reading their
Yeah.
keys? Are they understanding the situation, personnel groupings, and like what could happen there? And they're not getting put in conflicts and losing in conflict, so they're letting like an RPO go right fucking by them because they're not thinking, right? Um, as they're reading their
That's why
piece.
I was shocked they didn't go with Okereke, who I just remembered that is how we pronounce his name, Okereke. Because
I think I might have said Okereke earlier.
he was the middle linebacker for Eberflus,
Yeah, with the Colts.
and they went
And
with
he's,
Edmund. It was so odd.
I know,
And
and we both
Okereke
really
had a Pro Bowl
liked.
caliber season.
We both wanted uh Okereke. We had a whole episode named after Okereke because of how we can't say his fucking name and we always mess it up because people say it every different way.
That
So
episode does not exist. Anyway, we're droning on. You got to make
yeah,
your pick.
I did. I put in TJ Edwards and I moved them because Quentin Williams is my 3 tech, so this is my weak side, and he's gonna be my will. I'm actually gonna put Roquan as my Sam. And I want him. I want TJ Edwards scraping through on run defense, and really the only reason Roquan's there is for pass downs. It's not really like that. They're just, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, I want him on the tight
Sure,
end, so he's gonna be on the strong side of the formation anyway.
sure.
And I don't want him as my Mike. I think I'm gonna put Okereke as my Mike.
So he's your next pick.
Well,
I,
it
I
will
just took
be, but
I took Bijan, obviously.
oh yeah, okay. Well, you still have a DI. Well, hold on. Yeah, you still have a DI, but
No, I got Vea and Derek Brown at DI.
oh shoot, that's right. I forgot.
My wild
I
card is
know.
what I have open.
No, you know what? I forgot to move these over. I forgot to move these over. Right? That's what I
I
fucking
can't say I gotta freaking get up close to see what you're doing. Yeah.
I never moved these over, so that was the issue. I never deleted because I had it set up for what's it called? Jeez, I'm blanking. I had it set up for 3-4. Remember? I never moved yours over when you decided to do a 4-3. So I just saw
Oh,
that
right.
DI slot open. So
Right.
yeah, Bobby Okereke, and then you've got a wild card. Oh, what will you screw me with?
I can't because you'll have
I know.
you have an entire team. I'm gonna talk through this for just a moment here. So, couple things. So when I came into this, I was thinking
Holy shit,
backup
we've been
quarterback.
recording for 3 hours.
Jesus Christ.
We're at 2:41. I just looked at the time. Go on.
Well, at this point, it doesn't matter, does it? So I came in thinking maybe quarterback because my guy goes down. I want the quarterback, most important position on the field. But if my quarterback gets hurt, I don't know. It seems outside the spirit of the game. Um, Thought about another coverage player because they can play in dime. They'll actually see the field. But I'm going to take inspiration. Oh, last thing. Rashawn Slater would be good here because I think he could play tackle and guard. That was a big thought in my mind. Rashawn Slater as my wild
That
card.
would be. I would not.
Offensive line, famously being a weak link system, make sure
Yes.
that there is never a weak link. With that said,
You can take one injury, but yes, go on.
well,
Yeah, the fifth
but
guy,
but
according to
really make
analytics,
sure that there's not one.
according to analytics, the fifth guy does not. It's like a 5% impact at most, whereas beyond that, it's like 20 something.
But I think in terms of just adding another really good football player to my team, especially considering I've decided to go beef at defensive interior. I want a 3 tech.
Elijah
And I'm
Kitsy, come on
between
down.
the best 3 tech in the league right now, Chris
Mhm.
Jones, or the guy that we all know will eventually be the best 3 tech in the league,
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
That's would have been. So if I hadn't taken Dexter Lawrence, Jalen Carter was my second guy, which is why I really wanted Dexter, or not Dexter Lawrence, Quentin Williams. So
Posting these rosters without Chris Jones would be really, really weird. And I have the youth not to take Chris Jones.
you mean two take
Or
Christians?
yeah. My bad. I there's youth. I have youth everywhere on the defensive line.
How old is Vea?
How old is who?
Vita Vea.
I'm gonna guess 28. Let's see. 29.
Say, you would be doubling up on some like age there, but that's not a big deal. Again, interior defenders tend to age gracefully.
Yeah.
These aren't wide receivers or running backs.
Oh, man, I think I have enough pass rush anyway, so man, I could really fuck you up with the better pass rusher right now. So I think, oh, but Jalen in short spurts because he's not gonna have to play that much. It's going to us. Jalen Carter.
That's who I would have taken.
Yeah.
It's the spirit of the exercise is the issue. Like, obviously, Chris Jones. If we had to take it for this year, you'd probably take Chris Jones, I think, and not Jalen Carter. In 3 years, in maybe even 2 years, I would rather have Jalen Carter at that point because I don't know what's going to happen. You're already seeing Chris Jones take reps off, right? Like, you know,
Jalen
I mean,
Carter's not necessarily
this same. I know.
going
I said
hard
that
every rep necessarily, but he's
he
younger.
was early in the season, and I wonder how much of that is what's it called? Due to Matt Patricia. I don't know if I'd want to play. It sounds like they didn't want to play under Matt Patricia. Sounds like there was a
Yeah.
lot of issues because of that. So I'm
So I'll
curious because
say,
that it was a huge drop off mid-season.
yeah. So I'll say really quick, besides Jesus, this thing does not want to highlight orange. Besides Chris Jones, the best players available on my board, Joe Tooney, the guard for the Chiefs, uh, Derwin James, Andrew Thomas, the tech from the Giants, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I contemplated Tooney. I think Tooney's a bit older.
All the quarterbacks, obviously.
Yep.
No one else huge.
Yep.
Aiden Hutchinson would have been a lovely player if there were more edge slots, but
there isn't enough to
yeah.
get him in there. He is definitely up there. Junie was somebody that was in between when I was thinking between both times. Honestly, each time. I think he's like 30-ish. So why I was like, especially after taking yeah, I agree with that. Amon Ra, we already talked about. I could have switched Amon Ra in there, but I honestly think that I love how much I love Brandon Ayuk. These
Yeah,
rosters
I mean,
are
it's
so good.
totally.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up. We'll
Oh, and
take.
Devontae Adams, obviously, but
Oh yeah, we
age,
have, and
understandable.
I think the only ones we haven't talked about were the only one we didn't talk about was Tooney. All the other ones I feel like we touched on.
Anyway, real quick, Sean McVay is my head coach.
I was wondering which one you'd pick. He would have been my second because I love McVay. I think that's a great pick.
I mean, with the three receivers that I have, with the 11 personnel he's going with, I just got to go McVay.
Yep. And on that note, who do you think I'm going to take?
Shanny?
I wanted to see if you would have said
And then DC, I mean, can I pick whoever? Can I pick a head coach, or do I have to pick a current DC? Because
putting his dad's
we
name.
both need to take a DC.
Did you see that?
It's
Well,
it's far too small for me to see. You
I
got
was
Mike
writing.
Shanahan.
Yeah.
Special advisor to the head coach, Mike Shanahan.
Oh God, Kyle Shanahan. As I was writing that, I stopped. I'm like, hold on, wrong guy. Yeah. So obviously like Andy Reid would be next. I think a lot of people would probably wonder why I'm not taking Andy Reid, and I think a lot of it has to do with Andy Reid's one of the best coaches I think in the league. Obviously has more Super Bowls, and has been great even when he was with the Eagles. Has gone to a bunch of national conference championships with them, in a couple Super Bowls too, I think. And just lost. So like he's been great throughout his whole career, longevity. And then on top of it, I think you get just as much from play calling, if not more, out of Kyle Shanahan. and you get this culture that breeds fantastic coaches. So as he loses defensive coordinators, as he loses his own offensive coordinators and offensive coaching staff, he creates new ones and just pumps them out. I can't say the same, say DC wise, for if Spagnuolo leaves Casey, for instance. So when he has to come in
Yeah.
and hire a DC, I don't know how that's going to work out. So I like Shanny for the staff more. I like Shanny for age. But Andy Reid is a phenomenal coach, and I don't mean this in any disrespect to him.
Yeah.
And
Josh Allen is like Matthew Stafford on steroids for me. And then by 3 good receivers, I mean, it's just obvious McVay for me. We're not running much. We're running just to run.
yeah, no, that's fair. And I think that would have been my second too. And it actually is all the same things I just said for McVay. I mean, he's completely changed up. He runs a ton more 11 personnel than anyone else in the Shanahan system. From the Shanny tree, he runs a ton more drop back passing game than anyone else in the Shanny tree. Like he's evolved it so much. It shows you how much he thinks about where the league is going. I do think he's one of the best coaches in the league. And again, going back to, hey, I can just pick a DC off of the Chicago Bears, right? From them that they don't even realize is a phenomenal person. Bring him in, and it's running great currently consistently. Like right now, who's their DC this past year? Look how good the defense was for how many pieces we're missing. Like he does the same thing. Everything I said about Shanahan, because he's that crazy about the game. He thinks about it that damn much, and he's that passionate.
Oh,
So
their DC's the guy that they fired. I can't remember his name, but he was the Panthers' interim head coach, and they fired him after the Super Bowl for some reason. Damn it. I looked it up. But while we're talking about that, my defensive coordinator, if it's allowed, I'm taking Dan Quinn. And if it's not allowed, if I have to take a real defensive coordinator, I'm just going to take Jeff Ulbrich, the DC of the Jets.
I love you for taking a Seattle 3 guy, because that's exactly what you want to run.
Steve Wilkes was the DC of the 49ers, and they fired him after the Super Bowl.
And I'll be taking Fangio. So
Bastard.
why would I not? I mentioned versatility in the back end. He also can run cover one like a motherfucker, like he did.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I got to go with my Seattle 3. Sauce Gardner, Michael Parsons, familiar with Dan Quinn?
Nope, I hear you. I mean, you picked you could have picked like Pete Carroll. Outside of Pete Carroll himself, that's the next best guy to run the defense you want to run.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I care for. I mean, Dan Quinn's been fantastic with the Cowboys. The versatility you had. I mean, he also knows how to use. You have Michael Parsons, fucking perfect. So like on top of that, he's the one guy. Like I don't know if Michael Parsons would be Michael Parsons if it wasn't for Dan Quinn being like, I use this guy. Oh, I know exactly how to use this guy because he's such a different type of player. So I think that fits very well with your personnel.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, time to wrap up, I think.
Yeah, who do you think would win? I know you're scared of my run game. I think I'm still holding up real well on the pass, but you've got really good like I would have to pick at
I'm picking me.
I disagree. For obvious reasons. Because I'm gonna pick myself always. Anyway,
this has been Virginia's DMs. I think the first time we've mentioned the name of the podcast.
Thank you all for listening. If you are still somehow listening,
Bye.